That is the only snow you're going to see tonight. Welcome to the SoFi Hawaii Bowl. From paradise on Oahu, two teams that have a long photo album of memories, of history, of whack days back in the past. Coaches who know each other very well and recruit the same ground. BYU and Hawaii today from Aloha Stadium. Thank you for joining us. Happy Christmas Eve to you. If you're celebrating, Jason Benetti, Rod Gilmore, Quint Kesnick downstairs. When Nick Rolovich was hired as the head coach at Hawaii, he mentioned his game against BYU in 2001 as one of his fondest memories. This means a lot today.
It is, and this is a rivalry I think we knew a little bit about, but until you get here and you talk to people, you don't really understand. I mean, the influence of BYU in the islands has been huge. I had people come to me and say, my two favorite teams. What am I going to do? I'm stressed out about this. There's been tension all week here.
And there are other people who say, I only like one of them, and the other one go away. BYU, interesting season for the Cougars. Let's catch you up if you haven't seen them this year. 2 wins against Pac-12 teams for Hawaii. BYU got a win against USC and Tennessee. Tyson Williams injured, Zach Wilson injured. That's a problem. Jaron Hall then takes over the starting reins, the first African-American quarterback to start at BYU, and then Baylor Romney comes in. They had so many different quarterbacks this year. Romney comes in, gets the win against Boise State. Wilson is back from injury, and that's good news for BYU.
But listen, make no mistake about it. A lot of BYU people look at Zach Wilson and say he's the next great one. You know, the Steve Young kind of guy. That's the kind of physical attributes he has, tall, big arm, but he's had injuries this year, a shoulder, a thumb, and so he's trying to get back to the level where he was. But when he played healthy, he was fantastic in that bowl game last year, nearly perfect. They look for that tonight. That
was in Boise. Better weather here today. You talk about the BYU quarterback lineage. With Hawaii, there are some big names as well who have come through and done that here. This is a big offense.
Yeah, it's a huge offense, but when you think about playing here, this is an emotional place for the Hawaii team. They do a good job of, as the late, great Dick Tomey, who coach here, used to tell me, be hospitable, show them the sights, get them to the beach, and then bring them into the stadium and unleash the emotional fury on them.
You don't see the emotional fury in this. It looks so fun and nice, but they can really hurt you offensively this year. Hawaii with 2 wins against Pac-12 opponents. Arizona took a header here, then Oregon State. Historic wins against Nevada and New Mexico. Huge, mammoth offense in those games. They win 5 of their final 6, go to their first ever Mountain West Championship game. They lose in the Mountain West Championship game, as so many have in Boise, Idaho. But there's a lot to play for here today for Hawaii in terms of this offense. Their quarterback, Cole McDonald.
Well, yeah, and you're talking about a run-and-shoot offense. That identity is associated with Hawaii. And Cole McDonald conjures up the great quarterbacks who played in that kind of an offense. Timmy Chang here, Colt Brennan, and this is a guy who has a chance to do something those guys did. I mean, 3,000 yards passing multiple times.
Only football game in town. Spend the next 3.5 hours being terribly jealous of our weather. BYU and Hawaii will kick it off when we come back. A beautiful Christmas Eve here in Hawaii, and the guy who gets to enjoy it all from field level all day long is Quint Kesnick. Hi, Quint.
Hi, aloha, Jason and Rod. It's 84 and sunny down here. Feels like 95 in the sun on the far side where BYU bakes. And this Hawaii Rainbows team with their run and shoot, man, they toss the ball around. They've got 3 receivers with 80 or more receptions. Cedric Bird is their leading target. He's got 95 catches, 10 touchdowns, and he's good for about 80 yards per game. He's been battling back spasms during bowl prep, and they're not sure if he's going to make it through this game. If he doesn't play, that's a significant hit to the run and shoot offense. They'll also be playing without cornerback Rogesterman Farris, their best corner, out for academics.
That's big news. Above the fold news for Hawaii's defense, which has struggled. Obviously, the offense is ahead of the defense on this team.
I just know this is a fun offense to watch.
Off we go from the SoFi Hawaii Bowl. And Lincoln Victor on the return for the 28-yard line. Cole McDonald, junior quarterback, has adopted Hawaii as a home after growing up in La Mirada, California. Here's a young man who hasn't had the starting job in every moment this year, but he has put up huge numbers wearing those dreadlocks in honor of former Hawaii quarterback Brian Moniz.
Yeah, it's an interesting look. You know, you're talking about somebody who showed up in Hawaii with a crew cut, and now he's got the blonde dreads. Shows the growth and change that can happen in college, right?
Yeah, the curiosity, that Magellan sort of feel that Nick Rolovich has talked about, the Magellan instinct of folks who come here, as McDonald will throw on first down, and it's Miles Reed out of the backfield cutting to the 32-yard line, the sophomore out of Corona, California, who they describe as having contact courage. Reed, but look, Cole McDonald, even though he's not been the quarterback for every snap, has put up mammoth numbers.
Yeah, and I think he's a guy, at least in my view, who's kind of seeking redemption. Didn't have a great bowl game last year and has had a terrific season in looking to make up from last year's bowl game with a big performance tonight.
That is a story we'll follow throughout the game, whether or not Chevin Cordero, his backup, gets to see time in this game, as Reed has a carry to the 35, and it's third down and short.
And McDonald is a big quarterback. He's a tall guy, you know, 6'4", 220 plus pounds, a big arm, likes to get the ball down the field. Much better throwing the ball in the middle of the field than on the perimeter outside the hashes. And to get him off to a good start, you try to make sure you get him a good throw inside the hashes down the field.
A lot of what you just described also fits for Nick Rolovich, who played quarterback here at Hawaii, as that is incomplete to the outside, and they'll set up fourth down as Jared Smart was the target, but BYU gets a 3 and out.
Yeah, the run and shoot, you know, the receiver and the quarterback are reading the defensive coverage at the same time, and if they aren't on the same page, you get a throw like that.
You don't expect this Hawaii offense will scuffle all game long, at 32nd in scoring offense in the FBS, but Kalani Sitake's pass defense has been top 35 as well, as Stan Gaudian punts it, and a fair catch for Aleva Hifo. So for BYU, Zach Wilson, the starting quarterback, and we give you our keys to the game, brought to you by Dollar General.
Happy holidays from Hawaiian Airlines.
Well, when you think about Hawaii, we talked about their big passing attack. It is fantastic, but they lead the nation in turnovers. Got to take care of the ball. BYU is at their best when they run to the edge and they throw the ball well. And throwing it well means Zach Wilson needs to have a big game, and he is fully capable of that. As I mentioned before, he had a great bowl game last year.
Absolutely. I mean, you talk about 18 for 18 against Western Michigan to start in Boise State. As Derek Thomas gets the stop to set up second down. But Zach Wilson, sophomore out of Draper, Utah, he grew up a huge Utah Utes fan. I mean, they had seats at the 50-yard line. His family did in Salt Lake City, and now he's wearing royal blue.
You talk about the connection. His dad was born in Hawaii. He was offered a scholarship to Hawaii. There's a connection all the way around there.
Yeah, so Dad, I'm sure, isn't terribly conflicted, though he's got a heart for the islands, as third down is coming up as Wilson misfires.
Well, didn't Wilson tell us that he hated BYU when he was in college? His dad played at Utah, and he lived, 40 miles away from BYU, and that was the enemy. And now here he is, the star quarterback, the next guy for BYU.
It almost shocks you when you're sitting across the table from the BYU quarterback and he says, yeah, I grew up loving Utah, because that's just not allowed in the wars they've had, whether in conference or out of conference, whatever it might be. They go empty with 5 wide. Free runner, and Wilson throws it incomplete. He wanted the tight end, very talented Matt Bushman, the junior, with a pressure coming from Thomas, who had a very nice series.
Well, Hawaii wants to pressure, emotional, get yourself going. When you get an empty formation, only 5 blockers. And so the ball's got to come out fast. Hawaii wants to take advantage of that and put the pressure on Wilson, affect him. Remember, Wilson hasn't played an awful lot because of the injuries this year, the shoulder, the thumb, and getting into that perfect timing, might take some time. So you want to get after him a little bit if you're Hawaii.
Jake Oldroyd to punt for BYU. They've had kicker roulette recently as JoJo Ward lets it bounce and roll. The ball's chasing him, and it's inside the 20-yard line. So first down, Hawaii. When we come back after a 56-yard punt, take in the sunshine. Enjoy it with us, folks. Thirty-second meeting, BYU and Hawaii, and our impact players brought to you by Lexus, Ron.
Yeah, Cedric Bird, we talked about him getting healthy enough, hopefully, to go and be good enough today. And then the linebacker, Matau Tia, is outstanding for Hawaii. Katoa is the running back that we'll see a lot of. And Tonga, the man in the middle for the BYU defense, better take care of him because he can disrupt everything.
That's big number 95 with his hand down in the middle of that formation. A possible NFL prospect, certainly, as McDonald is on target to the 34 to Jason Schmarsh. Jason Matthews Schmarsh with the catch on a gain of 16.
Well, we talked about confidence with the quarterback and getting him a throw between the hashes. The run and shoot, the biggest play you have to defend in that run and shoot is that seam route or that post route over the middle.
Jason Matthews Schmarsh with catch number 81. He is 177 yards shy of 1,000 as they go for maybe possibly 4 guys with 1,000 yards this season as McDonald throws an absolute bullet to the 43-yard line. That's Cedric Bird, who is playing to start the game.
Yeah, and good rhythm. Now the run and shoot 4 receivers, right? 2 slot guys and 2 guys on the outside. Usually a 2-by-2 formation, sometimes a 3-by-1 formation. And again, to me anyway, the most dangerous aspect of it are those slot guys who get up the middle of the field in the seam.
There's Bird in motion, and he'll get the carry. Knocked back. He does have the first down. So Hawaii runs this run and shoot. You hear about the air raid and the run and shoot. What's the difference to you?
Well, you know, they are similar in the sense that they both try to get space, find open grass, and they try to get the ball out. The air raid is a little bit more horizontal, throw the ball wide. The run and shoot is a little bit more attack you down the field first, a little bit more vertical. Not as many of the underneath routes, but they're both a philosophy and an aggressive attack of throwing the ball first.
They go 5 wide here. McDonald down the middle, another seam ball for a first down to the 40-yard line to JoJo Ward.
Yeah, you know, again, we talked about this. You can't handle the run and shoot if you don't keep the ball out of the middle of the field. You have to wall off slot guys from getting inside. Sometimes you'd have to get your hands on those guys early, but if they can throw the ball in the middle of the field, Hawaii, BYU's in for a long day.
Gain of 16 on that catch for Ward, and this Hawaii offense, which put up massive numbers at points this year, just 10 in the Mountain West Championship game. They will run it on first down, and a tough place to run against BYU, the middle of that defense.
You know, BYU has faced good passing attacks this year, and they've done well. They handled, you know, USC and, you know, their vaunted passing attack, multiple receivers. They handled Jordan Love at Utah State. They like to play a lot of drop 8 coverage, rush 3. And so that tends to make it tougher on the short throws. But if you don't get your hands on guys, you'll have guys running free down the middle of the field.
It's part of the reason these guys, BYU leads the nation in tipped passes. A lot of that coming from the linebacker spot as McDonald turns it to the outside and has yet another completion. Once again for Cedric Bird, the leading receiver on this team. But look, if you're Hawaii, you are running this offense for a reason, and Nick Rolovich is a large part of that. He ran it himself.
Well, he ran it under June Jones, and you know, it gave the island, this university, an identity. You know, we're run and shoot. We're exciting. We throw the ball around. We're aggressive.
It doesn't require 6'4" wide receivers.
True that.
Absolutely, and even Rolovich said they don't have a guy like Ashley Lely, who was outstanding when he played. This is on target for another first down. Smart keeps his feet, and travels all the way to the 6-yard line. Jared Smart has a first and goal. Hawaii on a gain of 25.
And how about McDonald spreading it around? We've seen Sharsh, Bird, Ward, Smart.
Timeout on the field for a BYU
all of
injury.
These key receivers do the work, and they've been doing it in the middle of the field. And we'll see BYU at some point get to the sideline and talk about adjustments to try to keep those guys out of the middle of the field.
And Rod, they need to get to McDonald because he is sitting in a pristine pocket, great height, vision, lanes, and he's just driving that ball without any kind of BYU defensive interference.
But Rod, can you get to him with the quick trigger?
That's the point. The ball comes out quickly, and keep in mind, BYU is really not a high-pressure team. Only 12 sacks on the season. They don't really have a dominant pass rusher. They like to play coverage.
The ruling on the field on the previous play was that the runner's knee was not down and he advanced for additional yardage. That ruling is under further review.
They're going to review that and take a look at Jared Smart, who just went over 1,000 yards for Hawaii. So he joins Cedric Bird very soon. JoJo Ward will go over 1,000 as well. They'll become the 6th team with 3 1,000-yard receivers in FBS history. Take a look again and see if Smart's knee was down. Real time, I didn't think he was down. You?
Well, I thought he got his hand down. Instead, yep, there's the hand. No, there's the knee at about the 5-yard line. Yeah, the left knee actually comes down at about, that's the 10-yard line actually.
One thing that's notable about this run and shoot offense is the receivers meet with the quarterbacks. It's not, you don't have quarterback meetings and wide receiver meetings. They meet together because so many times they need to be on the same page, as you said, Rod, with the option routes that you're seeing. Okay,
yeah.
If the coverage is this, then I run a curl. If the coverage is something else, then I run a fade. And so quarterback and receiver need to see the same thing.
Hey, bowl season rolls on Saturday. It's the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic from AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Number 17, Memphis, trying to end that incredible season with a win, even though Mike Norvell will be leaving. They'll take on number 10, Penn State. It's noon Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. We saw both of those teams.
Yeah.
What's your feeling on that game initially?
I thought they were both fun to watch this season. And Penn State is suiting up a lot of players. A lot of guys have decided to play. I think they're only going to be missing one guy who's leaving for the NFL, which is one of the stories this postseason. Number of guys who are skipping bowl games, but many more playing than we expected. We thought the numbers would be higher. It was 2 guys started skipping bowl games back in 2015, approximately 25 skipping now. Number could have been a lot higher.
And some guys doing the opposite, like a Brown for Auburn coming out and trying to essentially recruit his guys to play in that bowl game as Reed gets tripped up. That was Trajan Peely who got him by the ankles, and that sets up 2nd down and goal.
One of the knocks on the run and shoot is that once you get inside the 20 in the red zone, you don't really have that dominant rushing attack. You don't have the option of being balanced down there. Expect now Hawaii to be more aggressive down here, go back to the air, and to maybe give you the rub, the pick plays, because BYU will settle into an underneath zone down here.
3-man front for BYU, 3-man rush. McDonald near side. He's got a completion inside the 10 to Lincoln Victor, the talented freshman from the state of Washington, a quarterback in high school, and it sets up
and an excellent tackle by BYU. That's one of the critical components of defending the run and shoot, is making the tackles in space, finishing off the one-on-ones.
Yeah, Q, good point. And they can do that down here when they play zone. They want to stay out of the man coverage because they don't want guys to get rubbed off by the pick routes down here.
QB draw is an option. McDonald's their 2nd leading rusher.
Yep, good call, Q.
They have spread the field with 5 wide on 3rd and goal. McDonald, end zone, touchdown! Jared Smart with the opening score.
When you play the picket fence zone coverage down here, everybody guards the goal line and everybody forgets about the back line. So every offense has their play where they want their receivers to get to the back line where the defenders won't go and drop the ball in over them. Done perfectly by Cole McDonald.
Jared Smart scores the touchdown. It's not as big of a score as what his dad did back in 1987 against Syracuse, but it counts for a lot. It's a postseason touchdown, 7-0 Hawaii.
A Hawaii Bowl, brought to you by SoFi. Save, spend, earn, borrow, and invest all in one app. The Hawaiian Islands. GoHawaii.com. And Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem.
One of the great parts of bowl season is the opportunity for all the players involved, wherever they go, to get an opportunity to experience the community. A lot of guys don't have the opportunity to travel a whole lot when they're younger, going into their football days, and BYU made a visit to a local hospital and spent some time with some families who could use a little smile across their face this holiday season, which is very nice.
It is fantastic.
So Smart with a touchdown, 7-0 Hawaii, and BYU will get it back at the 25-yard line off the fair catch. Let's go back to that touchdown.
Receiver number 5 called for and completed a fair
It's a
catch.
common defense teams play on the goal line. Defend the goal line. Do not let a hard throw cross the goal line. So they do that, but they don't defend the back of the end zone where there are bubbles. And so if the receiver gets past the picket fence there, the quarterback just has to loft the ball to the back of the end zone. Nobody hits the receiver. Nobody gets a hand on him. He just runs to the open bubble and waits for the quarterback to drop it in there.
So you're basically doing what you're expected to do.
Yeah.
You get beat.
Yeah, it's easy.
Lopini Katoa to the outside on a short gain on first down. BYU did that quite a bit in last year's game, running to the perimeter.
Yeah, they had 49 points and 280 yards rushing against Hawaii last season, and they did it primarily jet sweep, run to the edge, and finding big old number 89 Bushman, their tight end, letting him get a block on the edge and running behind him.
Bushman, the junior, there are senior receivers all over the place. And talking to Jeff Grimes, the offensive coordinator, his hope is that he can have them all have a very successful final game as Wilson gets dropped at the 31. Katoa sets up a third down.
Yeah, and if you're Hawaii, the number one thing on your list coming in is to stop the outside run. And they've got a third down now. They've done that. Expect them to be aggressive here. They like their corner play. They've played good man coverage. But remember, as Quinn told you, Ferris is out. So if I'm BYU, I'm looking up for number 20, Wilson, and trying to work on him and see if he can hold up in man-to-man coverage.
Wilson at the bottom of your screen. As Zach Wilson throws this way, and he's got the first down to Aleva Hifo at the 40-yard line. That was against Wilson, number 20.
Yeah, well, you know, the BYU coaches have eyes, too.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, they look out there and they don't see Ferris and say, who's the guy in for him? And they see that it's Wilson. They go, oh, he hasn't played that much. Go after him. Gets a lot of room.
Yeah, Zach Wilson, the QB, Rod. He's got some zip on the ball. I mean, he's got a nice release. You talked about that thumb injury. He injured it. He broke it against Toledo. And so grip has been an issue for him. But his release is beautiful.
Arm strength has been an issue as well with the shoulder injury that he had. And he's picked off right there. He threw it into traffic and got beat. Corey Bethley picks it off.
I think he had two receivers in the same area, and it was a little unclear to me which one he was trying to get the ball to. It's a little bit behind his initial read Hifo there, and that was the problem. There was another receiver in the area, but Hifo has his ball behind him, and Hifo will tell you that's one he should catch all day long. Not the best throw, but eye level with hands on it. Hifo's got to come down with that.
Usually a very reliable senior, Aleva Hifo. Hawaii with a short field, and Reed driven back by Chaz Ayu, the sophomore linebacker. A little post-play stuff going on. Chaz Ayu very excited.
one thing that's a little different about this run and shoot, Rod, the quarterback, in terms of being a run threat, their second leading rusher, and then the RPO game that they run is a little different for a run and shoot team. True?
Yeah, I'd say June Jones would look out here and say, Mouse Davis, he'd go, that's not our run and shoot. We didn't do the run-pass option game, and we certainly didn't have quarterback design runs. So maybe 85% run and shoot?
Well, Mike Leach says that about the air raid, too, and use the running back too much. McDonald to throw it down the middle. Smart again on his fingertip. Cut down. An absolute dagger from McDonald for 40 yards.
Oh, my goodness. Woo! You talk about a quarterback who's been focused on redeeming himself from his performance in last year's bowl game. He could not have gotten off to a better start, and that was one heck of a throw.
That is a jaw-dropping throw.
What is the one thing we said BYU could not allow to happen with this passing attack?
Between the hash marks.
Between the hash marks. What have they done? Between the hash marks.
And look at the score.
Yeah.
Extra point for Meskel. And Hawaii has jumped out to an early big lead. If you grew up watching Timmy Chang and Colt Brennan and all the guys that ran through here and chucking the football, there's another one at Aloha Stadium. Cole McDonald, an absolute bullseye for the touchdown. $14 points in 2:37. The soothing sounds of Hawaii offense at 4:55 first quarter. Quinn Kesnick is downstairs. Ron Gilmore, Jason Benetti. We are enjoying the weather, so you don't have to here at Aloha Stadium.
Very kind of us.
We are as philanthropic of a crew as anybody. As BYU will get it in an important drive coming up, as Gowalaku on the return has it just short of the 30s. We take a look at the clutch delivery brought to you by Chipotle.
Yeah, smart football here by Hawaii. You get a 3-deep coverage. You see the safety will vacate toward the center, but look at 49 Wilgar. He's being asked to cover the seam and run with 23 Smart. That's a mismatch. If you can't get your hands on Smart and slow him down, that's an absolute mismatch in a track meet. Great for Hawaii to recognize that you've got a 235-pound linebacker trying to run the seam with a swift receiver. Can't do it.
And they're going to keep needling that, too. If that keeps happening, they'll keep going.
Oh, yeah.
Zach Wilson to throw to Bushman, the junior tight end. Very talented. You think very highly of. NFL scouts do as well.
I don't know what he does better, catching it or blocking on the edge. I mean, he's equally adept at both of those. He's a guy who said that he'll decide on his NFL future after this game. We've had a lot of guys over the years say that, and it usually means they're leaving, but who knows?
Never know. He does have a great mentor in his father-in-law, Chad Lewis, an outstanding tight end. You may remember him from the Philadelphia Eagles, among others. That one fell just short, incomplete from Wilson. And Alevi-Hifo could not reel it in. Third down.
Yeah, he had a play out there. I mean, if Wilson is completely himself and he gets everything on this, that could have been a touchdown. Another seam route here. Now look how wide open. You get that ball to the outside, Hifo's got a chance to go. But again, Wilson, think about how good he's going to be when he has an off season, when he's healthy, and he gets to get stronger and bigger and get reps.
That's what he told us he's most excited about for after this season is the physical self-improvement. As Talon Shumway, his senior from Lone Peak High School, has a first down.
Wilson had a shoulder injury in high school. When he was at BYU, he was hampered by that shoulder injury. And then we won the job and became the guy. And guess what? Tears up his thumb.
Has pins in the thumb. As Quint mentioned, dealing with the grip issues and all of that comes with it. So the self-improvement really was stunted this year for Wilson, who throws again to the sideline on first down to Micah Simon.
And then you see throws like that, and you go, whoa, man, that guy is something. You know, he stands in the middle of the field to the far sideline and drops one out there. You see the shot of him, hospital, shoulder, bandage, surgery.
Good news when you're in the hospital, if there is any good news, is you can watch all the rom-coms you want. And so How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, I'm sure, was on the
You think he's going to have a few movie dates?
He told us he loves kind of the soft movies. He likes romantic comedies. Teenage heartthrob. Zach Wilson on the move to throw for Bushman, trying to high point it and knocked away. Eugene Ford.
Good play.
Got a hand in.
Now, I get that he's into rom-coms, you know, or people call them chick flicks or whatever.
Yeah.
But to have him go back and say, hey, How to Lose a Guy in 10 days, see that throw? Great throw moving to his right. I mean, once you go How to Lose a Guy in 10 days, it's, you know, along came Polly, right?
That's next.
Baby-faced sophomore can move his feet. Loves Sunday dinners with his family at home.
A very nice young man who is now on the outside of his field getting to the 40-yard line. He's got some teeth when he gets on the field. He's happy to run, happy to take contact.
He's a talented guy, you know. He's a big man on campus, you know, and as I said, he's only going to get better. I mean, he hasn't had the off-season, the relaxed time to improve accuracy, to get in the weight room. In a year or two, we're going to be talking about him as one of the quarterbacks in the country.
This is trick play territory for BYU if they get a first down here on this third down. Got to convert it first.
Not far from the red zone. They love to do that. Little shuffle to the outside, picks up the first down. That is Aleva Hifo, who they are very willing to run. Another one of those seniors to move the sticks. BYU and Hawaii in their 32nd meeting of all time, dating back to 1930, before Hawaii was part of the Union.
Were you surprised at how deep this rivalry is?
Once we got here and we started talking to the coaches, you feel it. I mean, it's coming out of their pores, and players and locals, and part of it is because of what Lavelle Edwards was able to do to open up this recruiting ground for BYU. All the years together in the WAC. Down the middle, wide open, Bushman. Inside the 5, first and goal. There is all of his talent on display.
Absolutely. 6'5", 250 pounds. Soft hands. When you run him down the seam, linebackers can't stay with him. Wilson recognizes this quickly, puts the ball up high where he's got that long arm range, wide catch radius, and some running skills afterward. He's a talented player.
Potential third-round draft choice right now in NFL eyes.
They brought in Mason Wake to play fullback, and down to the 1-yard line to set up second down and goal.
Good answering drive, Q.
Yeah, and it was much needed. That earlier third down conversion was gigantic because Wilson was struggling, didn't like the mojo on the far bench as they get baked in this sun over here, but this drive makes them competitive in this game. It really turns the tenor of this game around.
Assuming they finish it.
Got a second and goal here. Katoa and Wake, that's Shumway in motion. And they'll run it for Katoa, who's in. Touchdown, BYU.
Big drive, big finish for them. They needed that.
You know, talking to Kalani Sitake, talking to Jeff Grimes, the offensive coordinator, they said Katoa was the most important guy for this offense today.
He's a talented guy. He's a guy who originally was committed to Oregon State, but he flipped to BYU after he went on his mission trip, and it's become a real focal point of this offense. He's the guy that sets up everything for Wilson throwing the ball. He is the perimeter runner and the inside runner.
Ron, you get the inkling that 14's not going to win it tonight here on Christmas Eve. You just kind of get that sinking feeling.
Look at the push up front by that offensive line. Blake Freeland, the right tackle, a freshman, does a great job crashing down that right side. This offensive line for BYU has been through some changes this season. They've got some young guys playing. but they're strong on the perimeter when they want to run to the edge.
Hey, we got football on Christmas Eve, but we have NBA on Christmas. The annual NBA holiday party, noon Eastern, Celtics, Raptors on ESPN. Maybe Brad Stevens will let Taco Fall play after he just conducted the orchestra. Then Bucks, Sixers on ABC, Rockets, Warriors, Clippers, Lakers, and then cap it all off with Pelicans, Nuggets, 10:30 on ESPN. All 5 games on the ESPN app. You can watch wherever you're celebrating Christmas and basketball. Teach all your older relatives how to use the app.
Yeah, I was relieved to hear that LeBron and Anthony Davis are both now expected to play.
That's good.
Yep, good news.
Load management, the new buzzword in the NBA. As they fake the reverse, and Lincoln Victor takes it across the 20-yard line as we take a look back at our Expedia Drive recap.
Yeah, you know, big plays during that drive really came through the air after you had your quarterback, Wilson, make a good play to the edge with his feet, knows how to bounce back and come back with a terrific throw down the field to his tight end, Bushman, which really set up Attila to finish it off. Good push by that offensive line.
Boy, the seams in this game are matchup nightmares. Whether it be a slot receiver for Hawai'i or Bushman, the tight end for BYU.
Yeah, if you didn't know what a seam was before this game, you do now.
Oh,
right?
you're going to know. That's a beautiful ball right down the middle. A little more touch this time for JoJo Ward, the senior from Waco. So McDonald has shown the whole rainbow of what he can do so far today.
Yeah, you know, he's been outstanding. I mean, a little half row, comes back the other way and gets the ball over those long-armed linebackers again between the hash. You know, his numbers in the middle of the field are fantastic. As his QBR rating when he throws outside the hash, he's like 24 in the middle of the field, 90 outside the field.
Down the middle again, and it's batted away this time. Incomplete. He wanted Bird. Bo Tanner was on the coverage, and it's second down.
That ball hung up. It didn't have a clean spiral and caught a little breeze and hung up in the air forever. And that's been one of the few misses today for Cole McDonald. Quite honestly, down here, his height, you know, he reminds me a little of Jacob Eason, the way he stands tall in the pocket, but the decision-making and accuracy today, more like Jake Fromm. I couldn't be more impressed.
Yeah, he's done a nice job. Nice play by Bo Tanner to knock that ball down. I'm waiting for the adjustment for BYU defensively.
What do you think it might be?
You got to get your hands on those inside guys. They can't run free down the field.
As we watch the release here, running free, Smart, down the sideline, and he's inside the 10. He absolutely lambasted Troy Warner to set up first and goal.
Man, oh man, are they laying it to him through the air. We told you this offense was fun, and they're looking deep first. They're not settling for the short throw. McDonald is looking deep to blitz them with the deep outside throw, the deep seam throw.
Cole McDonald came into today 7,000 yards short of Colt Brennan, 10,000 of Timmy Chang, and striking distance seems to be the phrase of the day. I mean, he is throwing bullseye after bullseye. You never know what's going up on the tote board when these two get together. Hawai'i wrapping on the door, leading 14-7 and driving with Cole McDonald, who has just been outstanding. Keli'i Leakey is in as the tailback, and they will run with Peruta, who is just short of the goal line. So the Wildcat formation for Hawai'i on the direct snap sets up second down and goal. And we are joined on the line by a guy who knows how to get you in from the 1 yard line. June Jones, longtime coach of Hawai'i, 1999 to 2007. What's it like for you to sit at home and watch your former players and your former program coaching now?
Well, it makes me really proud. So many of those guys, Brian, Craig, Abraham, I got a whole bunch of guys on the staff. Rolo, of course, last time in this game, you know, threw lights out, and it's the reason there is even a Hawaii Bowl from years ago.
They're going to say McDonald was just short. June, you got a play that you can run from the half-yard line right now? Hawaii could use it.
Well, well, they're going to find a play, but I would throw it. You know how I am.
Yeah, you know, June, I think I remember a game when you ran it maybe once or twice. This is Rod, is that correct?
I think you had that game. It was on ESPN. We didn't run the ball until there was 3 minutes left in the game.
Hawaii wants a timeout. Coach Rolo hustling down the sideline.
So, charge timeout, Hawaii. Their first of the half.
More with June Jones when we come back on a 3rd down and goal.
ESPN, home of the college football playoff.
Hawaii leading 14-7. We're joined on the phone line by June Jones, who coached Hawaii from 1999 to 2007. All right, what's this BYU rivalry like? We've heard so much about it. What's it like for you?
Well, this BYU rivalry goes way back to the missionary families on the North Shore and in Samoa. And, of course, Dick Tomey years. I mean, this was bigger than life. It was the only game in Hawaii for many years. And I think that 2001 year that Rolo was the quarterback really made it something special for all of Hawaii.
They just got in, coach. Touchdown for McDonald to make it 20-7.
And June, if I remember 2001, that was a BYU team that was undefeated and was perhaps overlooking you guys, talking about playing in a national championship game. But did you have to hit them up for what, 72 points?
Yeah, it was a heck of a game. They were undefeated. They were complaining about not getting them on the big bowls, and of course we had a pretty good team. And that game, 72. I mean, I think of Shannon Harris. I think of Chad Owens, who set the record, all-time history, 120 years of football, still holds the bowl game return yardage record in that game. And Rolo, I'll never forget the last pass he threw for a touchdown to Shannon Harris. And actually, those were something special, and it was big for Hawaii.
How about your guy Craig Stutzman with the punt? Punting the ball, getting ejected from the game.
Well, we had what we did. We had a 35-point rule, I think, at that time, and I didn't allow him to ever celebrate. But I said, if we're ever up by 35, you can do whatever you want. And he elected to punt it into the stand.
That is awesome. Hey June, not many teams are committed to the run and shoot as Hawaii is, but when you look around the NFL, you look around college football, you can't help but notice a lot of the run and shoot principles are everywhere. That's got to be satisfying for you.
Well, Rod, it is. You know, I think back to 1987 when Jerry Glanville first hired me from the USFL to go into the NFL. And they said so much that this will never work, it'll never work. Now it's part of every offense. In fact, when I watched New England, I watched so much of their 4 and 5 wideouts. Everybody's doing some of what we do. And, you know, Hawaii and Houston Roughnecks will be doing it full time. So I'm kind of jacked up about that.
I was going to say, well, before we let you go, what's the XFL life like? Because we're going to see you on our airwaves back here, not in Hawaii colors, but with Houston in the XFL.
Yeah, no, I'm really jacked up about it. We just got done with training camp. I'm really impressed with the quality of the players. I'm really, I got a chance to meet Vince McMahon about 3 weeks ago, and he's committed for basically, he said, his life to make this thing work. I think it's an unbelievable opportunity for so many players, so many coaches, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. I think the week after the Super Bowl is our first game, and you guys, ESPN, ESPN2, and ABC, of course, are a big part of the reason we're going to have success. So it's going to be fun.
You're going to run the run and shoot? What are you doing?
Well, let me just say this. We will be throwing it more than running it.
June, I would expect no less than to see you throwing it around because it's in your DNA, and man, you've helped change the game that way dramatically.
Well, I appreciate it, Rod. You must over the last 20 years done I don't know how many of our games, and you kind of know what we're going to do, and it'll be fun to win and change, and just get it done at the level, professional level that really is going to be kind of fun to watch grow over the next 4 or 5 years.
Well, we look forward to seeing you and everything you do offensively. Appreciate the time. June Jones, enjoy the rest of the game, all right?
Thanks, Jason. Aloha, guys.
Aloha.
Thanks, June.
One of the great guys in coaching, one of the creative minds in play calling, June Jones. Oh, Bushman one-handed. Yes, sir. How about that?
Wow. We talked about his ability, his talent. Big guy, soft hands, and you tend to underestimate his catching radius. He's got long arms, which really helps him as a blocker. But watch here. Watch how he extends this big right paw out. Pulls this thing back in.
That's a terrific catch. They're using him today more in the slot. Sometimes he's a single wide receiver. He has not been attached to the line like a true tight end very much today.
Just sort of grazing there. That's one of the keys, Quint, is figuring out where he is at the start of a play. They'll run it on first down for Tyler Algier, who was a running back to start the year, moved to linebacker, and now back to running back with all the injuries they've had. And we asked Tuiaki, the defensive coordinator for BYU, if he fought Algier going back to offense. He said, no, but maybe Tyler did a little bit. He loved linebacker, but he's willing to do whatever for the team.
It's actually more fun to hit than be hit.
Yeah, surprisingly enough, right? Algier with the injuries to Tyson Williams, to Asupa, who was the starting running back before Katoa took over. Down the middle, Dax Milne inside the 15-yard line. So the sophomore sets up BYU nicely.
Do you believe, the next one? We've heard the BYU people talk about Wilson. Watch this throw. On time, and look at that thing. Perfect accuracy. Receiver has a chance to continue to do something after he catches it. That's beautiful.
For folks at home, that doesn't get talked about enough. If you can easily run after the catch, that is an absolute keeper as Wilson finds Katoa to set up second down.
My first college coach was Bill Walsh. And in practice every day, he had the quarterbacks focusing on not getting the ball to the receiver, but on the upfield shoulder, on this number, in this area, so they can turn this, to keep them running so that they didn't have to jump or break stride or anything. And the great quarterbacks, the Joe Montanas, the Steve Youngs, those guys, they did that stuff perfectly.
Consistently.
Yes, over and over.
Yeah. Katoa inside the 5, and it's funny you mentioned Steve Young because Zach Wilson, I'm sure he's got other cool people in his cell phone, but after the Tennessee game, he got a couple of texts from Steve Young saying, hey kid, good job beating an SEC team.
You see the way his face lit up? He's like, yeah, I get to tell. Steve Young texted me.
That's right. I mean, can you imagine looking at your phone as a quarterback, especially at BYU, and saying, oh, text from Steve Young. Also, mom texted me. A lot of Katoa on the drive. Wilson leaning into it. And he is knocking on the door. No signal yet. BYU says touchdown.
He's really in.
The whole pile's in. Yeah,
he's really in.
How can he not be in?
Everybody's in.
He's in the light blue.
He was so far in, the refs kind of lost sight of him.
No. Well, Quinn, is that the first time you've had the touchdown call first down on the field?
He's running back on the sideline and they still can't find him.
Look at that.
He was in by 5 feet.
Well, Q, you're talking about an offensive line where hardly anybody is under 6'6", and everybody's over 300 pounds. And they are wearing out that smaller defensive front for Hawaii, particularly short yardage and goal line.
Suddenly, this game looks like it's going to be a scoring fest.
You know what that was, guys. That was how to lose a guy in 2 yards.
The ruling on the field on the previous play is touchdown. That ruling is under review.
It disappeared.
Yeah, true.
That's how you do it.
All right.
They're going to review it. Quint, you're going to have the replay answer too?
This is a frivolous review. He was wedged in between the big offensive guards and the center, MP, who's had a strong season, and he kind of disappeared. He was engulfed in blue. It looked like a big wave today on Waikiki, Jason.
And MP is the short guy, 6'4", 300. The guards around him, 6'7", 310.
He's engulfed, and they kind of lose sight of him. But he's in by 3 or 4 feet.
And tell me how you're gonna get any evidence to overturn this.
Well, you can't. I mean, you got a 200-pound quarterback in the midst of 900 pounds of offensive linemen.
Yeah, it's not going to work out very well for.
And you're trying to find that little brown football. Good luck with that.
Yeah, it's got to stand, right? I mean.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field of touchdown is confirmed.
Would have given Tim O'Day a lot of bowl season points if he came on the microphone and said, after reviewing the play, everyone was in the end zone.
These wonderful MAC officials just enjoying their time in the sun here, having not to be in DeKalb or Athens.
Come on.
Or Kalamazoo this time of year.
DeKalb's in my neighborhood. People like DeKalb. It's a tropical locale. 21-14.
I know you and Q are having a good time, but focus for a moment here.
Yeah.
BYU is back in this thing, and Bushman's had 2 big catches on 2 drives to get him right back in this.
We'll check the focus after this.
Thank you.
ESPN celebrating 150 years of college football.
By Hawaii Bowl. Brought to you by SoFi. Save, spend, earn, borrow, and invest all in one app. Marriott Hawaii. The best locations on all the best beaches and the best deals. Visit MarriottHawaii.com. And AT&T.
Look, the whole island chain is a water park, so you don't necessarily need a water park, but that's Wet and Wild here. The only problem for Hawaii is sometimes they do have to play road games and go somewhere else. This is just wonderful out here. Great hospitality from the bowl folks, and you look at the wrong ticket. The Gator fan. I see. They had the wrong ticket. That's you're a little west of your game, but I mean, you think about the travel. For Hawaii, you look at them compared to the travel from like the Seattle Mariners of Major League Baseball. They do that 58,000 miles in 81 games. Hawaii is at 35,000 in 6 road games.
Wow. Remember, that's a college team. Amateurs traveling more than pros.
Yeah,
they don't fly charter. Yeah.
Right.
Everything's commercial,
So that really
That's
impacts
hard travel.
Yeah, that impacts the way they operate as a program. What you can do on Sundays and Mondays, how the players and staff, how they feel. You think about the hours they spend in planes.
Q, it means not coming back after the game. It means you're waiting around till the next flight the next day.
Yeah, Sunday morning you fly. You basically Sunday's your off day, and you spend it in 32F on a plane as second down is coming up. But it also impacts recruiting. I mean, we were talking to the offensive coordinator, Brian Smith, about that, and he said, look, when we go, say, to Nevada, we'll drop a couple coaches off on the way in San Francisco, and they'll go recruit in San Francisco, wherever it is. You have to pick your spots when you go to the mainland.
Yeah, it's a big deal. The other big deal for BYU defensively now is adjustments, keeping the ball out of the middle of the field. Q, get your hands on receivers. Don't give them the free releases.
They're not pressing the slots on the top of your screen.
Yeah, Gawalaku at the bottom is up in press coverage, and the slots are fairly open. Second down, and Reed setting up a third down and medium to long.
Yeah, when you don't get your hands on a slot receiver and you allow him that free release up the middle, it puts stress on your safety. It puts stress on your corner. It widens everything. It gives McDonald the option of looking outside and throw deep. He can look inside and throw deep. So you have to constrict that and keep those slot guys from stressing your your safeties.
So why not do it? Is it speed concerns that they're not pressing?
No, I don't know why they're not doing it. You got to get your hands on these guys.
Tonga's off the line, 95. Something's up here.
Yeah, he's walking up to the line and walking back. And now he's undercut as McDonald gets it free to the outside, and Sharks for a first down for Hawaii.
You know, when we watch tape, you know, we put on San Diego State, we put on Boise State, and both those defenses really worked on trying to beat up the receivers and keep them out of the middle of the field. Now BYU hasn't done a lot of that. Outside throw here works for a first down, but I think as we get to the second half, you'll see BYU adjust and try and find a way to be more physical, to get more in the face of the receivers, and to force McDonald to throw outside the hashes where his accuracy tends to fall off a little bit.
He pulls it there, sidesteps Peely, whips it down the middle and turned his receiver around. Second down.
Good adjustment by BYU. One of the few times we've seen them bring pressure. They're not big on blitzing. They did this time to affect the quarterback. And then you see the single coverage. Again, you've got a safety trying to match up with a premier receiver who can run by you.
That's Hayden Livingston, who is not on the depth chart for BYU, but they have the injury to Lee. Moore came off earlier, so they're shorthanded in the defensive backfield. Second down for McDonald. Down the sideline, wide open, JoJo Ward. Inside the 15, he burned Gawalaku. 47 yards.
Well, Ward had man-to-man coverage, used a double move to get by Gawalaku. Now, Gawalaku is their best man-for-man cover guy. And he tried to press him, and the double move, kind of a stop and go, allowed Ward to keep going. And look at the ball that McDonald put out there. Let him go get it.
Rod, that was as beautiful a pass as I have seen from field level all season. It was a rainbow, just a gorgeous arc.
That will make you smile if you're a quarterback person, and that will not. He goes down. J.J. Nwigwe sacks McDonald.
6'5", 260. Nwigwe ran through his blocker, and in that run and shoot, your quarterback gives you a little half roll. He rolls right into the pressure. Right where you saw Elm Manning trying to hold off Nwigwe.
BYU team has not brought much pressure this year. They're tied for 125th in sacks. That's number 13.
Yeah, it's not their style. They are primarily a drop 8 cover team or a drop 7, rush 3 or 4.
Miles Reed on the run to set up third down. Miles Reed, by the way, is one of the guys who helps recruit players to here at Hawaii. He is one of the top-level recruiting hosts. He likes to have fun, big personality, and you almost have to have a big personality to play for Nick Rolovich because he'll dress up in costumes.
I'll tell you this about him. I've not seen another running back this year, his size, better at pass protection.
Is that right?
Oh, he's only about 180 pounds. He doesn't care if you are 250, 260 coming in. He will stick his nose in there and throw his body into it to protect his quarterback over and over again.
They go empty this time. Pump fake. McDonald gets dragged down. The ball came loose. However, there was a whistle as well. Zach Daw pulled it away from him, and it'll be a BYU forced fumble and turnover. He just crowbarred it free from his paws.
You saw the pump fake by McDonald. Now, when he brings the ball back down, he holds it down low. Watch how low this ball is. And there you see Daw. He's like, ball? Ball? I can just take this away from you.
This is a direct quote from Zach Daw from earlier in the year. Tackling is kind of a treat for me.
Timeout on the field for media.
And it looked like it right there. I mean, he just swallowed the football. BYU will try and tie on this drive when we come back as we get the ball from Daw somehow. So Zach Daw has described a high confidence factor winning one-on-one, and it comes from his background of wrestling. He was a state champion wrestler at Pleasant Grove High School in Utah. Question is, though, will he keep the ball? And the answer is McDonald's knee was down. You just saw the knee go down while they were wrestling. And if it's an alternating possession, essentially, while the knee goes down for the quarterback, he's going to keep the ball, and that's what plays here.
Yeah, you know, and keep in mind, this was huge for Hawaii. You won 9 games, but they've been the worst team in the country in turning over the football. And they just avoided one right there.
30 turnovers coming in, -1 turnover margin per game, which is a massive number, as Meskel sends it flying to the goalposts and through. Hawaii from 46 makes it a 10-point game off the sack, but no fumble, and that is big news for the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, who lead by 10.
Think about how many games that team could have won had they been not the worst team in the country turning the ball over.
I mean, you look at a 9-win season overall. I mean, this was a very strong season.
Every week, what do coaches all talk about? Take care of the football. If we don't turn it over, we win. They turned it over more than anybody else and won 9 games.
Yeah, I mean, and went to the Mountain West Championship game for the first time ever. So many laurels for this team this year, and so many teams that have had turnaround. Bowl Mania rolls on Thursday. 2 more games that we know are going to be entertaining. The Walk-Ons Independence Bowl, 4 Eastern. Basically another home game for Louisiana Tech from Ruston. It's in Shreveport, not far. They'll take on Manny Diaz in Miami. You talk about a bonkers season. Miami's had one, losing to rival, quote-unquote, FIU. And then Pittsburgh, Eastern Michigan in the Quick Lane Bowl at Ford Field in Detroit. Pitt early on had a stab at Penn State. Couldn't finish it. The analytics police were out for Pat Narduzzi. And they end up in a bowl game anyway. You do not want the analytics police siren coming after you. Nick Rolovich, by the way, Hawaii head coach, is a big analytics guy.
He's a believer, but you know what the analytics don't get? My guy who's playing left tackle can't block that guy across from him.
Yeah.
We're not going to get that yard.
They try and bake that in. But, you know, you and Rolovich can handle that separately during baseball season. We take a look at the SoFi by the numbers here with 5:50 to go second quarter with the music for the SoFi behind the numbers. You think it's a passing game so far?
Well, we said for Hawaii to have a shot to win this game, they needed a big, big passing day, and they're getting it so far.
Wilson, Alevahifo, he's got it just short of midfield at the 49-yard line. Hifo, the very reliable senior.
Terrific body control, great ball skills there, turning in the air to find it. Wilson putting the ball up, giving him a chance in man coverage to make a play. This is well done. Watch the adjustment here. Yeah, that is nice.
I like Hifo. I like him as a player, a senior. I hope he gets a shot in some NFL camp. Swiss Army knife type player.
Bushman certainly will get a chance, and he rampages through 2 Hawaii players to set up another first down.
And Bushman has been in the middle of every good drive for BYU. You know, find him coming across, give him the ball, put it up high, let him use those big long arms to pull it in. He was instrumental in the first touchdown drive, the last one, and now he's got another big catch to get them deeper into Hawaii territory.
Trick play. Micah Simon wants to throw. He does for Shumway. And it's incomplete. There is that just outside the red zone inkling for Sitake and his offensive coordinator Grimes to run the trick stuff.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that in taking that shot, they haven't gone more towards Wilson, the side where Ferris, the starting corner, is out, as opposed to working that side now. Come back here. As long as you avoid 18 Davis, the corner, that's the way to go for BYU.
Katoa with the cutback to set up a third down. Quint, to your point about Hifo, by the way, he's gotten more acquainted with special teams, he told us earlier this year, which certainly serves him well in the NFL future.
Yeah, a punt returner talked to us about the challenges of catching punts and how underestimated that is for the common fan at home. But he also told us that he's terrified of amusement parks, speedy rides. I'm not sure how that agrees with being a punt returner.
What? I mean, I understand roller coasters, but amusement parks?
He avoids amusement parks at all costs.
Yeah, he don't want to be conned into a thrill ride. Wilson on the run, zigzagging through the defense, and Wilson finds space inside the 20.
That play was designed to get to the edge, and they had the edge. Great blocking again on that edge. Make sure you get your tackle, pull them outside there. Chandon Herring, 77, getting out there, leading the way, and easily helping his quarterback pick up the first down. And now you can take a shot if you want to, right? You're probably going to get man coverage down here.
MP, by the way, on that play, the center who they think so highly of, was out there kicking out as well. Wilson to throw with a line drive for Mill inside the 15.
Yeah, that's the run pass option of the offense. Quick read by Wilson to determine whether he should give the ball or fire it outside.
Injured player is
Time out on the field for a
Kaneshiro,
defensive injury.
the freshman from the St. Louis school.
This will also
in
be immediate
Honolulu.
timeout.
So Kaneshiro down, and we will step aside with BYU driving.
Year 6 and the college football playoff.
College football playoff semifinals Saturday. ESPN and the ESPN app. LSU, Oklahoma, the Heisman winner against the Sooners, who are a little short-handed with a couple suspensions. Then Ohio State, Clemson in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. The winners go to the national championship January 13th on ESPN. Trickeration for BYU as expected. Simon turns the corner, and he's in. Touchdown, Micah Simon for BYU.
Nice job of BYU setting them up for this. They've run the jet sweep. They come that way, start with it, and then bring Micah Simon back on the reverse. Jet sweep action, one way, come back with a little inside reverse. And there's Micah Simon.
That's exactly right, Rod. I'm on the Hawaii sideline. All the defensive coaches were saying 15, 15, motion, motion.
When they get the coaches, when the coaches are duped too, you're probably going to score. And again, by the way, on that play, Empey was downfield, leading the way.
Well, you know, Empey was downfield. You get a good block from 76, the chance downfield. Excellent call. And
Jeff
again,
Grimes,
that jet sweep cue, such a staple of the offense. Everybody is so alerted to it. Great call down there to sort of give them the cheese.
Yeah, second and medium. It caught me off guard coming on second and medium.
You know, Jeff Grimes, the offensive coordinator for BYU, has really taken to the islands here. He's taken to home with this play calling and how clever he's gotten. As we've talked to Jeff Grimes over the course of the couple games we've seen BYU, the new offensive coordinator, he's told us that he's got a little bit of a look-alike, that his daughter has even noticed, and her volleyball teammates have noticed. They say he looks like the guy from Friends, and we were like, well, Matthew Perry, what are you talking? The answer is Tom Selleck. And when you look at him in the Aloha shirt, and then you look at Magnum PI, it's very, very close. I mean, that's a dead ringer.
I get it. Absolutely.
Do you think the music's playing in Jeff's headset?
I think he's just going with it, man.
Where's Higgins?
My goodness.
That's good stuff. 24-21 your score as Hawaii will get it back. And this return for Lincoln Victor, the freshman, has him just short of the 30-yard line.
Magnum PI, wow.
That's old school.
Yeah.
1980s,
Going
80
back.
to 88. Right here in Honolulu. I wonder what it was like for him to walk up and down Waikiki this week.
Magnum, good to see you, man. It's been a while. I mean, he is. It was funny as he was telling us the story about his daughter's volleyball teammate, because the younger generation knows him as Monica's boyfriend from Friends.
Nothing about Magnum PI, but just friends. Yeah.
Not 3 men and a baby. Nothing. Just friends. So Hawaii and McDonald The throw again, and Smart has had a huge game to the chagrin of Syracuse basketball fans. His father, Keith, beat Syracuse in 1987 and is not exactly a hero.
Time out on the field for an offensive injury.
Injured player is Elm Manning, the left tackle, who had 29 straight starts to open his career, including today. An All-Mountain West second-team guy, and he would be a huge loss.
Yeah, sophomore from Glendale, Arizona, has really been a mainstay over there and done a great job all season. Second-team Mountain West Conference selection this year.
The anchor of that offensive line. They've had 4 separate right guards, but he has been a staple on the left side. As you see Nu'uanu Kuhiiki coming over, he would be the first tackle in, the freshman from here in Honolulu. And Manning is up. Hey, the Mercedes-Benz halftime report coming up shortly. John Brickley, Emmanuel Acho, Trevor Maddich. We'll look ahead to the college football playoff semifinals, and we will have analysis of the New Year's Six from them as well.
Going to be a good Saturday.
Yeah, look, all these games, and this is why this game is so special, because sometimes you do have a random team seeing a random team, and that's intriguing in its own right. When you get these two rivals together for a bowl game, it's a major bonus on their schedule.
Well, how about the story June Jones told us about just the history of how big this game has always been?
McDonald hit.
It dates back to 1930. I didn't even realize Hawaii had a football team back in 1930. And think about what the travel was like for BYU. You know, I did some research. I couldn't find much. But back then, Colorado State played here at Hawaii. It took them 11 days to get here.
1930?
1930.
Hawaii wasn't even a state then, right?
No, exactly.
By 29 years. How, 11 days to get here?
That's what it took Colorado State.
Wow. I mean, literally row the boat. PJ Fleck's got nothing on the travel against Hawaii in 1930. McDonald whips it, first down, Sharsh inside the 45.
Oh, you want to talk about threading a needle. That was a throw. And he's throwing into 8 defenders, and those windows are really, really small. Look at that one.
Straight over the top release. The ball comes out. The nose of the football's tilted down, but he is straight over the top like a fastball pitcher.
Kind of reminds me of Aaron Brooks a little bit. Remember him from Virginia?
Yes.
Aaron Brooks came from low and then over the top.
And he's got a quick release, but it's a long delivery. Yep. He holds the ball down low and brings it up and around. So it's a little long, not ideal, but he's quick with it.
How does that affect him in his future, possibly NFL?
Hey, look, those guys at that level in the NFL, that ball, you do that little hitch thing, that ball's going the other way.
Yeah.
It's a pick six.
McDonald, a junior, so 1 year of eligibility remaining. There have been some rumblings about his possible NFL draft stock, and Quint mentioned earlier, it's sort of all over the map as he throws another strike to JoJo Ward. And a first down.
Look, scouts are going to love his size. They're going to love his arm strength. They're going to love his toughness. They're going to have some questions about the inconsistency at times where, you know, he's thrown a lot of picks. He's thrown the ball in situations where he probably should not have. His accuracy is a little bit down outside the hash. But overall, somebody's going to be really happy that they get him.
He's thrown for 300 yards in the first half of a bowl game, by the way.
Absolutely.
Holding on to the ball, waiting, and it is intercepted. Troy Warner goes down to the ground to pull it in.
And he barely held on to it.
Caught it between his legs.
Did Smart run the wrong route?
The ruling on the field is interception. First down, BYU.
Yeah, that's a catch.
Yeah.
And now that the ball was high over the middle. Anytime that ball is high over the middle, it's not accurate, and you have the risk of that tip drill.
The reason I said maybe wrong route, and watching it again, I don't think so, but McDonald was looking at that look in his eye as though there was some miscommunication. But
well, You can see from that replay. Oh, he didn't get that one.
Fans here think that ball hit the turf.
I think it did too. He had Bird down the middle of the field, and he chose to go back away from Bird. And that ball
on the
was
field
high.
on the previous play was
And at the end of that,
BYU. That ruling is under further review.
I think Warner did a good job of acting, but it looked like that ball hit the turf.
You can see, by the way, by the response of the crowd here, why this place has been known to actually rock and move. They were booing when the announcement of the replay came across.
I've seen this place move. Back in 2007. Friday night after Thanksgiving, Boise came in, undefeated. Hawaii and June Jones with Colt Brennan beat them. This place was sold out, Jason. And they used to play baseball here, so the stands are on rails. And the stands were shaking and moving. It was one of the best regular season games that I've ever been lucky enough to cover.
That was a team that went to the Sugar Bowl and lost to,
That's a drop.
I'm with you. They lost to Matt Stafford, no Sean Moreno, and Georgia that year. As the officials will look it over. By the way, Quint mentioned this was a AAA baseball stadium. Barry Bonds played here. Tony Gwynn played here on the way to the major leagues.
Now remember, when you review this, you've got to have
indisputable video
evidence.
Is it indisputable in this case to overturn the call of interception?
I think so. That ball goes through his hands, and then he tries to trap it with his knees on the ground. And I don't see hands between the ball and the ground. I don't see knees between the ball and the ground. I see the knees on the side of the ball. To me, that's not possession. Look at that ball drops down. That's a drop.
Big play.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field of interception is being changed to incomplete pass.
Overturned.
The ball returned to the 33-yard line where it will be 2nd and 10. Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 1 minute 32 seconds. 1:32, please.
Good call, Rod.
Now the challenge for McDonald
start on the snap.
is when he's got Bird down the middle of the field like that, he's your best receiver, look that through before you come back off to someone shorter. He had Bird running free for the touchdown.
So you're saying take the deep route.
Well, and June Jones would tell you this. You want to be aggressive in this thing. You want to look deep and then come back. And you want to really put the fear in the defense about the deep throw.
Hey, look, our first penalty of the 2019 SoFi Hawaii Bowl.
False start. Offense number 63. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
That's Ta'anga Tu'ulima, the junior center. First penalty at 1:32 in the first half. We could get used to this.
It's our gift to the audience after being patient all season with a lot of flags. We, Christmas Eve, give you a game with few flags.
It's our present to you.
Thank you.
As the sun has gone away in a trade for that first penalty. To the sideline, JoJo Ward with nobody in the vicinity. And that breakdown sends him to the 25.
But if you're BYU, you're okay with that. Those little check downs, flat throws, that's the cheese. You don't want to get so caught up in those that you give up the deep throw. You want to react to those. So BYU defensively is okay with that. Just keep taking away that deep throw, particularly that seam route, that post route in the middle.
They're okay with it as long as Peely makes the tackle, which he did. McDonald outside, first down.
Little zone read action. Not a traditional part of the run and shoot offense, but every offense now seems to have some quarterback run game in it. Quarterback reads the edge, doesn't give the ball, figures he can outrun the defensive end or linebacker to the edge there, and he does.
2 timeouts for Hawaii. They'd like to score, obviously, and take this clock down to zeros.
Question is, will they score too soon with BYU holding 3 timeouts as well? McDonald down the same, touchdown. Charged from 18 yards away, and Hawaii's put up a 30-burger.
I think we're wearing out the seams on this field. Good look by McDonald. Saw the matchup right off the bat, looking to his slot to his left, He's got three. Look at that. Free release right down the middle of the field between the safety and the linebacker. Can't make it any easier than that. Can't make it any easier. You got a slot guy and nobody gets a hand on him.
That's the reserve linebacker, Max Tooley, who was closest. But June Jones mentioned the name Chad Owens, the former Hawaii All-American. He is the cousin of Jason Matthew Sharsh. The transfer from Santa Barbara Community College has a touchdown. And Cole McDonald, who's got a multiple 3,000-yard season to his name, has 300-plus yards already this evening.
We talked about that bowl game last year and that this game for McDonald was about redemption. How do you spell redemption?
You spell it E-I-E-I-O, which he heard a lot as a kid, and sort of said, you know what, you gotta let yourself be made fun of. You gotta make fun of yourself. You know, your last name McDonald. That's gonna happen.
You know what you can say now? You can say, my hair is better than Trevor Lawrence's hair at Clemson.
But yeah, you don't want to start that fight though. People on social media are gonna.
Yeah, well, folks will take sides on that one. I'm just saying he has an argument that he's got the best hair in college football.
Yeah, let's look through the flip book for Cole McDonald. You know, he's sort of clean shaven and all that, a little flecks of blonde, and then the dreads start to build. And in 2019, here this year, in honor of the former quarterback here, Moniz.
Did his eyes get bluer as his hair got blonder?
You know, I think that's what happens when you live in Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
That you look at the ocean so much, your eyes get a deeper blue. As a flag comes down on the kickoff, as we try to make up for lost time in this first half. Crowd's really getting into it. Hawaii's special teams trying to whoop up the crowd as they run by those old baseball dugouts near the end zone.
There's a lot of pride here. A lot of pride. Rod, you talk about motivation in bowl games all the time.
Offside, kicking team number 42. The 5-yard penalty be added on to the end of kick. First down BYU.
The hungry team, the motivated team so far has been Hawaii, looking for that 10th win, looking to beat their big brother, so to speak.
Yeah, Key, look, if you're going to a bowl game and you're not excited about the opponent you're playing or where you're playing or what's at stake, those extra bowl practices can be a real drag.
Yeah, they're excited about all three of those things you listed, both of these teams. Wilson with pressure coming. A little sidewinder, and it's second down. Both coaches in this game, Sitake and Rolovich, mentioned how much this island has given to them and how much this land is important to them. Kalani Sitake growing up here, Rolovich playing his college ball here.
Well, Rolovich said, you know, he owes so much to this island, and you find that's a common theme with coaches who coach here. Dick Tomei, June Jones.
There's Aleva Hifo on this run to set up third down, and BYU will get it after halftime, by the way.
All those coaches embrace the culture and everything Hawaii has to offer, and I think that's why they were all successful here.
Start timeout BYU, their first of the half.
There's a level of culture and understanding of other values that Nick Rolovich talked to us about, the importance of having a kid get that in order for him to want to come here. The one phrase he used with us is, it's got to be the kid's choice to come here. You've got to almost have it in your heart to play here, but when you do, they can build a special thing, as we saw just 12 years ago with June Jones.
Well, and Sitake talked about that as well, having, you know, grown up on the North Shore here, and he lists Provo and, you know, the North Shore as both of his homes. He's from those two places, what he likes to say.
Laie is the area of the North Shore where Kalani Sitake grew up, playing in the park, pick-up football. Wilson to throw on third down, and he does get it away, and a broken tackle sets up a first down for Micah Simon and BYU. That's a major change of this tenor late in the first half with that first down.
Great patience by Wilson, extending the play. Things were breaking down. He keeps sliding, and he's waiting for something to open. He gets Micah Simon out there, but because he extended that play, it opened the possibility to keep this drive going.
Injured party is Corey Bethley, the sophomore, the academic all-Mountain West safety for Hawaii. He will come off, and Donovan Dalton will come in. The sophomore from the state of Minnesota who has upgraded his climate. Wilson on the roll. Wilson chucks it down the field, and a diving try by Dax Milne, and he brought it in. First down.
Yeah, Wilson was to do.
Yeah, Wilson was destroyed after he threw it and drew a flag.
Yeah, but Q, do you know how hard that is to make that throw?
Well, that's the throw that you're not supposed to make, by the way. You're throwing back across your body over the middle of the field, but it was a thing of beauty. His mobility definitely stands out in the way Jeff Grimes, their offensive coordinator, likes to roll him out.
Darius Muasau was coming in, and that's the flag you're talking about, Quinn. Tim O'Day, what you got?
Personal foul, late hit, defense number 48. The 15-yard penalty be added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Well, Muasau was in there first. We'll see who got the actual hit in on Wilson. Yeah, that was Pritchard coming
Correction,
in.
the foul was on defender number 2. Defender number 2. Hawaii has called their second charge timeout of the half.
Hawaii to talk it over defensively. Well, I said to you earlier that it doesn't look like 14's going to win this game. Don't really get the feeling 31's going to do it either.
But this is what it should be.
It's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, this is what you want in a bowl game. This is what you want when you come to Hawaii. You hang out, you have a good time, you go to the ball game, and guess what? The ball is in the air, a bunch of points are scored.
Yeah, surf for a little bit, ride a wave of offense, and we'll take a look at the Bowl Challenge Cup standings. They're brought to you by Progressive. An early, strong start for the Pac-12 at 1-0 in our standings. Who you got? Who are you going to take? You got to pick one conference. Who's going to win?
I've never been good at picking the conferences who are likely to win this. The last couple of years, I believe, hasn't it been a group of 5 conference, you know, Conference USA, Mountain West, you know.
The Americans.
And again, we talk about motivation, you know, and motivation shows up in those games. I'll go with a group of 5 conference to win it again.
Which one? You got to pick one right now. You're on the record. Because I said so. Don't reject the premise.
I'm just trying to go 1-0 this week.
Okay. Wilson scanning. Wilson hit low, and down he goes at the 19. It was Derek Thomas, the junior from Huntington Beach.
BYU has struggled in the red zone
Charge timeout,
this
BYU,
season.
their second of the half.
51% of the time they get touchdowns, and ideally you want to be north of 70%, somewhere around 75% would be excellent, and they've struggled.
That was a coverage sack.
First sack of the game for Hawaii defensively. And now 34 seconds. Second down, 13.
Yeah, here's an interesting thing for BYU, though. Normally in this position, you think in terms of, I've got a field goal in my back pocket. I want points before the end of the half. They've had such trouble kicking the ball. I'm not sure that Satake is going to be thinking, I got 3 points in my back pocket. I may have to be real aggressive and try to get a touchdown.
He wouldn't commit to a kicker before the game. He said it depended on the hash mark, whether it's Jake Oldroyd or Skylar Southam. So we'll see. Hefo in motion, second down for Wilson. This is Hefo, who is dropped at the 20-yard line.
Now, again, in terms of game management and the like,
Final timeout of the half.
good call with the timeout and figure this out for your third down call. Are you going to take a shot to the end zone? You trust your quarterback for that? Or are you afraid that if you lose any yardage at all, you cannot make a field goal and you need to get 3 points out of this? You can't waste this drive.
They've only hit 5 of their last 13 field goal attempts and had some chip shot misses to finish the season at San Diego State. Into a little bit of a wind here. left to right.
I was going to say, I felt the wind up here in our booth picking up a little bit.
Yes.
It's somewhat open air. Has that happened recently?
Absolutely. These clouds have rolled in, and the breeze from left to right has picked up.
Yeah, this would be about a 37-yard field goal from here if they don't gain anything on this third down.
Thinking Hefo or Bushman if you're BYU.
Well,
can't take a sack.
Yeah, Bushman to me is the most reliable target. He's the guy they trust the most in these situations. He's also the biggest target, 6'5" at about 245, 250.
Here comes the crowd. 3rd and 15. They play well off the receivers. Wilson turns it to the far side and misfired for Simon. You kick it, what's your choice?
Yeah. I mean, you know, that's your trick play you pulled out here on 3rd down. You got to at least try to get something out of this. And, you know, you can't cut your kicker and hire somebody else. You can go scholarship hunting in the offseason, but you got a couple guys on roster. You got to do something with them, right?
The split-second transfer portal has not been invented yet. So Oldroyd's going to come out from the right hash from 37 to make it a one-score game. A timeout for Hawaii.
This will be a full
24 seconds. Now the question is, you know, if he misses this, you'll have 18 seconds. Would you think about keeping the timeout and maybe trying to jam on the gas pedal? Couple plays to get yourself into range?
Well, given the way this first half has gone, you can score 2 more touchdowns in 18 seconds.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
The run and shoot mindset says always be aggressive.
That's the word that Nick Rolovich used with us, is aggressive. So the use of the timeout there to ice a kicker.
Well, you know, he wasn't sold on being aggressive until he had a visit with Mike Leach, and Mike Leach basically said to him, if you believe in this thing, man, you got to go all in.
Was that one of the 6-hour conversations he had on the phone with Mike Leach? Because that's actually happened.
How can you have a 6-hour conversation with anyone? But those two had it.
He's the island version of Mike Leach. Yeah. Nick Rolovich, very curious, very intriguing neurons up there, sparking in that brain for the Hawaii head coach. Oldroyd, after being iced on Oahu. Bad snap. Oldroyd strikes it, and it is good. 31-24 with 18 seconds to go in the first half. Hey, Hayden Livingston with a whale of a hold there, by the way, to get Oldroyd an opportunity to boot that ball.
Yeah, and a great confidence boost for him, and great confidence by Satake shown in him, giving him this opportunity. That's a good save.
Yeah, that is, for people who've not done that, have you ever tried to hold? Rod, have you done that in your past holding? But
yeah.
You've done it.
I've done it, yes.
How hard is that to do what we just saw?
Well, catching it isn't easy. It's the timing and spinning it, getting the laces away that makes it difficult. Not everybody can do it, and I couldn't.
You were really bad at
it?
No,
I mean, I was serviceable. People were better, so
I see.
I gladly stepped aside.
BYU gets the ball at a halftime, so trying to keep it right there. 31-24, the 32nd meeting all time between BYU and Hawaii. BYU has a satellite campus in this state. They've recruited the Hawaiian Islands and the Pacific Islands very substantially in their history, as Lincoln Victor has a seam. He shucks one tackler and finds his way to the 35. How aggressive, capital A, are they going to be? Quinn, Rod, 12 seconds. What you got?
First play determines it.
Just chuck it deep, right?
First play, if you can get something out of it, they'll come right back and take a shot to put themselves in position for a field goal. If they get nothing on the first play, they're going to go to halftime. Oh, no, they're just going to go to halftime. They like 31 points. Huh.
Hey, by the way, bowl season continues on, and that music means we are going to, in the second half, give you a promo that you are not going to believe. That was a tease of a promo.
That. Okay.
You don't know what you're going to see here in the SoFi Hawaii Bowl. If any of the games are going to be like this, they're going to be dandies. Quint is downstairs.
Coach, how would you best describe the play of your quarterback?
Oh, he's been playing really good. You know, the sacks I really didn't like, and I thought our receivers have made some big catches. I'd like to get the run game going a little bit. Defense needs another stop, and we got another half because BYU gets the ball. That was a big drive for us getting that touchdown before half.
This seems like a scoring type game where whoever can make more stops. What's the biggest challenge your defense is facing?
Well, I think they're some of the eye candy, and they got good schemes. They got good players. That tight end's I can make some plays, and the quarterback, the schemes, their stuff is they can cause you problems.
Thanks, Coach.
That's it.
It's about the eye candy. Jason.
Did he just say that's my best side when he was sidling up next to you?
Yes, he did.
That's outstanding. We're having fun. I don't know about you on Christmas Eve. We're having a great old time. 31-24 at halftime. After the break, Brick and crew have all the highlights from around the country. It's the Mercedes-Benz halftime report. Some previews of the New Year's Six coming your way next. You're watching the SoFi Hawai'i Bowl, and in the interest of equal time, we mixed in a couple defensive highlights there. On the way back from the break, it is 31-24, Hawaii with the lead as we take a look at tonight's holiday highlights brought to you by Macy's. You want touchdowns? Rod's got touchdowns for you.
Oh, if you weren't here, sorry. And if you weren't, check it out. Seven touchdowns in the first half. 3 touchdown passes by Cole McDonald, 4 touchdowns on the ground. BYU getting into the act with Katoa, and then a couple quarterback sneaks on both sides. 7 first half touchdowns by these two teams.
And in the words of song, it doesn't show signs of stopping. 31-24 as we take a look at our first half stats brought to you by ServPro. McDonald has been dazzling, Smart with 2 touchdowns. Wilson for BYU as a rushing touchdown. Check out the ServPro First Responder Bowl, by the way, December 30th on ESPN. Western Kentucky and Central Michigan are ServPro first half stats. Okay, Rod, you play defense. How do you stop these offenses?
Well, at least in terms of this run and shoot, I've been challenging BYU to be more aggressive defensively, to really get their hands on the slot receivers and not let them have free releases. We'll see if that happens. They're not a blitzing team defensively. I don't think that's the answer for BYU. So we'll see what they do. Now for Hawaii, on the other hand, Wilson has been extending plays and really causing them problems. Can they keep him in the pocket, and can they affect him? Can they get to him? Hawaii needs to bring pressure. That is more their identity.
Quint downstairs, what do you have?
Well, I asked Kalani Sitake, how can you better defend the seam? And he looked at me and he said, you'll see, it's all in there. We need to start pressuring the quarterback. So he really wouldn't tell me how they're going to better defend the seam. Meanwhile, if you're this team, this Hawaii team right here, their defensive coordinator said they have to do a better job against Bushman, the tight end, and that means getting a bigger body against him.
Yeah, good
He's
luck
been
with that.
pushing off and making plays.
He's like a bear roaming free in the forest at points in this game. Bushman is, as Wilson's on the outside and Bushman blocking for him.
Yeah, that's a good example, Q. I mean, he's on the edge. He gives them the edge. He contains the outside edge guy there, and then that allows Wilson to come around and pick up almost a first down. He does pick up first down. Look at this.
Yeah,
he's blocking in space.
Is 6'5", 245, okay? If he lines up as an attached tight end, as he is right now on the left, you can cover him with a linebacker. But when he's split out and you have a safety on him, he's got a physical matchup advantage.
Engaged blocking again as Katoa crashes down at the 49 for another BYU first down.
Getting to the edge. This is what BYU did last year against Hawaii. They pull one of their interior linemen, get to the edge, knock out that contained guy, and pick up yardage. They did it for 280 yards last season.
Christensen's got 100 pounds on Eugene Ford there on the edge. That was the blocking situation right there. As you see Christensen at 295 out of Bountiful, Utah. Dax Milne to the short side, and he made his way on the tightrope inside the 45.
It's one of these things. You go back and you pull out the film from last year and you go, hey, we did this well, we did that well. What's our game plan this one? Well, we're going to change and do this. Well, wait a minute. Why don't we do what we did until they prove that they can stop that?
It's coaches overthinking, and it happens every week in college football, right?
They know what you did, so you're going to do something different, and you can outthink them that way. Just go beat them the way you beat them, right?
It is somewhat different personnel, but the success is still there as Wilson's going for the sideline, and great coverage by Ford on the edge against Dax Milne to set up third down.
Now, I'm not saying you don't change your game plan and you don't tweak things from game to game or year to year, but you have to challenge that other team and make them show you that they have solved the last problem. Good coverage, as we talked about once before out there by Ford.
Eugene Ford pressed into duty with Rochesterman Ferris out because of an off-field issue. Their best cover corner not playing today. Wilson down the middle, a bullet incomplete, and sometimes those short throws, the accuracy is not on target with the quick release from Wilson.
Yeah, he's got a lot of arm, and remember, you're talking about a guy who had a pin in his thumb and a cast, and that touch and that feel for the short throw, I mean, those things might take a little longer to come back.
You like the punt here?
Well,
4th down and 4 in a 55 total point game?
Against an offense you haven't been able to stop? Yeah, I do.
You do?
Yeah.
Your punt's safe here defensively. Treat this like it's going to be a fake.
This is the first punt since the first drive of the game. And they will go ahead and boot it to JoJo Ward from Oldroyd.
You know, we still have a punting national crisis.
You're saying the importing of Australians has
most
overtaken college football.
Most Power 5 teams have Australian punters now. We can't produce punters in America now.
Rod will take us through the Sydney Opera House when we come back.
We got 30 minutes for the rest of our life. He's all the way home.
Coming in January, celebrating college football's 150 years. Rod, you were part of those panels and part of the pieces that ESPN put together. What are people going to see?
Oh, it's such a great series. Greatest coaches, greatest players, greatest games, greatest Heisman debates. If you haven't been watching, get involved. Check it out.
Baruta tipped it in the air, and it's incomplete. So second down. If you're just joining us, there are 55 points on the board. If you're with family members or you have family members around the world, remind them that they know how It's a Wonderful Life ends. They don't know how the SoFi Hawai'i Bowl ends. So join in with us for the conclusion of what's been a really entertaining game so far.
Good way to spend your Christmas Eve with family and friends and a high-scoring game in the background, huh? Doesn't hurt.
It's Pac-12 after dark without the Pac-12 so far. McDonald into heavy traffic. I mean, H1 traffic, and it's third down.
Yeah, that's not the choice, Q.
No, and you think about how good he's been so far this game, but this season, the inconsistency, the ugly decisions at times, and now with the worst field position of the game for Hawaii, he's got to take care of the ball. He got bailed out twice in the first half. A fumble and a potential interception overturned by replay review.
Yeah, and on the other side of that, 300-plus yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 18 completions. So you're right. You got the good stuff, and now you get a little bit of the shaky stuff.
They're top 20 in third down conversion in the country, Hawaii, and McDonald threw it right to Fanua.
Yes, he did.
Goodness gracious.
Yes, he did. He couldn't have walked up and handed it to him any easier, and Fanua just couldn't hang on to it. And there were nothing but blue shirts in the middle of the field there. Take a look at this. Look at that. 3 blue shirts trying to squeeze it into Ward, number 9. And I don't know how he saw Ward. There's nothing but blue around there.
It was a predetermined throw, I believe.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm standing right behind him, and that's where he locked up.
Just the second punt for Hawaii. They have the 7th fewest punts in the FBS. Hifo to the fringe. Aleva Hifo has room to go, and he's inside the 5. There is a marker down on the play. We'll check the flag.
Such a good classic return. Make one guy miss and then get to the wall. Your wall of blockers that traps the punting team inside the playing field.
Sideline warning, BYU. This is their first warning. There is no yardage enforcement with their warning. First and goal, BYU.
So that's all it is, the sideline warning. The get back coach is going to get fined.
Yeah, you get this punt, and as a returner, your job, make one guy miss, get to that wall. Now watch here. He gets a block. He's over to the wall. Now all the Hawaii players are inside the wall, and they can't get to you.
Aleva spoke to us earlier this year about how much he enjoys returning punts, and I think he realizes that's going to be a critical aspect that determines his trajectory potentially in the NFL. He's got to be a great special teams player.
That was a great play, Q.
We've seen him take jet sweeps. We've seen him return punts. He can throw the ball as well. He's set up a first and goal for BYU. Wilson on the roll. He wants to duck his head, and he gets hit at the 2.
This is typical BYU down here. Get to the edge, pull one of your linemen, little gap scheme. Clark Barrington, 56, the left guard, pulls out, gets in front of Wilson. Pull everybody to the right side, pull around your guard, let him get out there and lead you. You saw 56 Barrington. And now, second and short.
Wilson again is in. Touchdown BYU. His dad was born here. He's got roots in Hawaii, and Zach Wilson has a couple of rushing touchdowns and 1 point away from the tie.
Yeah, you think about this rivalry, and Wilson gives you all sides of it. A guy in high school who committed to Boise State, rooted for Utah, hated BYU, got a late offer from BYU, and now he's their star quarterback.
He was more than happy to change hats. His parents have talked about how weird it is to root for BYU, but they are well behind the baby-faced quarterback Wilson, who's deadlocked the game.
Brought to you by SoFi. Save, spend, earn, borrow, and invest all in one app. The Hawaiian Islands. GoHawaii.com. And Domino's. Order online and track your order.
Before you fly away from Honolulu, you've got to take in a luau. This one at the Royal Hawaiian Hotel at Waikiki Beach. Team's got a chance to take in some traditional dancing, Maori warrior demonstration, and a fire dance as well. Quint got to his own luau earlier this week, didn't you, Q?
This is an island with great musicians. There's a wonderful musical community here.
Are you one of them? Are you thinking of taking
No,
out
I don't
the ukulele?
play the ukulele or the guitar, but some great singers here.
By the end of this game, you might have the chance to. This is a high scorer, and it doesn't show many signs of slowing down as the return gets Hawaii just short of the 30-yard line.
I pay close attention to Cole McDonald this series. You know, he started off so hot in that first half, has struggled that last series, seemed to be locking in, as Q said, not feeling and reading, but predetermining things. And remember, Hawaii talked to us about occasionally having to change the pace if they needed to with the backup quarterback.
Yeah, you could argue he's playing for his job right here in this game, Quinn.
Well, did BYU change something defensively that confused him, that he sees a different picture now in the second half?
Well, Kalani Sitake said we'd see defending the seam differently. And he's undercut that time by Fanua, who nearly had the pick on the last drive.
Yeah, they have changed up defensively, Q. they're doing a better job of getting a body on slot receivers. They're making sure they hit receivers as they come off the line of scrimmage, which is disrupting the timing a little bit, which is something we talked about and we expected the adjustment from BYU. You see the defenders in the face of the receivers now.
They were up at the line. Long ball, McDonald down the sideline and too much on it.
Yeah, and that's been the adjustment so far, is to make sure you crowd the receivers, you get your hands on them, you disrupt the timing. Now the adjustment for Hawaii, you see, if they're going to do that on the edge, that's man coverage, and that receiver has to beat it. He has to get deep and beat that press coverage on the outside.
Jason and Cedric Bird, their leading receiver with 95 receptions, does not have a helmet on the sideline. Looks like the back spasms may have ended his evening.
He came in with the back injury, played in the first half, was fairly quiet as McDonald hit Sharsh, little step back, trying to gain ground after that, and the cavalry continues to come to set up a fourth down.
Yeah, so this adjustment by BYU has unsettled McDonald and the offense. Now the chess game will continue. We'll see how they adjust it. Do they start moving their receivers? Do they start trying to get a better release, or do they start thinking we need to come with Cordero and see if maybe we can mix up the quarterback thing with more quarterback run game?
And talking to the coaches, as you mentioned, it's not necessarily even about McDonald's success. It's simply the timber of the offense, the feel of the offense. And so he might lose his ability to play quarterback in this game just because of ineffectiveness of the whole unit.
Can you take a guy out who's thrown for more than 300 yards?
Aleva Hifo, by the way, we'll find out the answer to that. Hifo tiptoeing down the sideline with a gymnastic return just short of midfield. It's a 31-yard takeback.
Nice show. What a return by Hifo. Second big return by him. And again, he's trying to get to the wall. Little hesitation step. He makes a guy miss. He makes three guys miss.
Juice, yeah, juice play for their bench and their fans, and look for BYU to be aggressive now with good field position.
You wouldn't accuse Hawaii there of good special teams tackling in that scenario. Hifo with a strong return. A couple of punt returns to set up BYU. Fake the jet sweep. Wilson to throw. Bushman never got a chance to reel it in. Neat design.
Yeah, he just missed him. Bushman was there. And Bushman's really put on a show tonight. When you think about the skill set you'd like to have in a tight end, a guy who can block at the point of attack, a guy who can block and get you to the edge, a guy who can get down the field. He's done that. A guy who can get key first down short catches for you. He's done that too.
Nothing better in the holiday season than a well-timed NFL draft promo on your screen, by the way. Bushman, you'll see maybe his name get called there, depending on what his future holds. As Katoa to midfield sets up a third down for BYU.
Well, Bushman said he would make a decision about the NFL after this game is done. And as you mentioned earlier, he's got good people around him advising him.
Chad Lewis, his father-in-law, one of the great tight ends. Freshman All-American a couple of years ago in 2017. Bushman on a key 3rd and 7 here for Wilson. He spins it out wide and incomplete for the win for Dax Milne, and it's 4th down BYU.
I think I would have been looking for Bushman coming across the field, bigger target. That's a hard throw, tough decision there for Wilson. Back across the field, long throw, a little bit of pressure for a smaller receiver.
There's a little pressure coming from Laulu for Hawaii as Oldroyd gets some run here. We didn't see much of the punters in the first half. They've been more present here in the second half. And the fair catch for JoJo Ward for Hawaii.
Now, Quint was telling us that this increase in Australian punters is What'd you say, Q? Something like mail order brides or
Yeah, it's
something?
like a mail order bride. When these coaches go down to down under and get in front of Pro Kick, they kind of bring them out and say, okay, what kind do you want? You want a pocket punter, a rugby punter? You want a tall one, a lefty, a righty? Do you want one who's serious about education? You want one who's 26 or 19? And they find you a match. And how many matches now? Are we like above 40 or into the 50s?
They're at least 47 Australian kickers. Yeah.
It's their best import from Australia right now, our punters.
You're looking for a match here. Hawaii's looking for a match at quarterback. Chevin Cordero has come in, the freshman from the St. Louis school. He was the backup of Tua in high school as Reed goes down to set up second down. So look, Hawaii, as we foretold, when there's a bog down in the offense, they go to the other quarterback.
But how does it feel when you take out a quarterback who's thrown for more than 300 yards and been responsible for 4 touchdowns and a half?
Yeah, I don't know what you say to him other than this is your lot in life. That's what McDonald's dealt with. He waited 2 years to get the starting job. So
the quarterback position has evolved. A decade ago, no one would ever take out a quarterback under these circumstances. Now they're kind of treated like any other position.
Really?
And that's why you see the transfer portal numbers rise.
We saw a game this year that they subbed the quarterback every play.
Whoa.
Cordero swung back into the end zone by Mahe.
Mahe with a terrific pressure there. He was in the backfield right at the snap. He blew the play up at the very beginning, getting quickly by his blocker and making a play. That was quite a play. That was Laval 72 that couldn't handle it.
Atunaisa Mahe, who was injured through all of last year after coming back from his mission trip in his native Tonga for a couple of years, sets up a 3rd down and 19 for Chevin Cordero in his first series in this bowl game for Hawaii, and that ball comes out low and incomplete.
Hawaii's got an energy problem right now.
Yeah.
You feel it down there?
Oh, yeah. Both the fans, the team, no emotion. They're flat. All of a sudden, they're playing tight, looking up at the scoreboard. Kind of like they went into halftime and had a big meal, and they're nappy right now.
Nappy? Feeling like a little shut-eye?
Need a little sleep. And this is danger territory here because Hefo is on fire as a punt returner.
Q, 2 big punt returns in a row for Hefo.
How about a directional kick?
How about getting the ball out without it being blocked?
By the numbers.
Ben Scruton is on to punt instead of Gaudian. So we'll see if he can kick away from Hefo, and that is not going to get the job done. So Hefo forces the kick to the sideline off the side of his foot. It had to have been, and just a 30-yard punt.
It's like a good base stealer intimidating a pitcher.
Draws the attention, causes major ruckus, and BYU's got great field position when we're back.
Was never to be the quarterback of an NFL team. I wanted to be the quarterback of a top 10 team playing in the national title game, and we have a chance to do that, and this is a dream come true for me.
CFP All Access coming up here before the college football playoff. Hear from the coaches, hear from that guy, Joe Burrow. His Heisman speech was just fantastic.
Absolutely. Biggest issue of the year, quarterback transfers.
Joe Burrow ends up at LSU. Some folks thought he couldn't play. He found a spot for himself, and we'll always appreciate Ed Ogeron for that.
Just think what we would have missed out on had we not had quarterback transfers for this year.
Yeah, people that are the best players finding a spot, no matter how they find a spot.
Justin Fields at Ohio State.
I mean,
Hurts at Oklahoma.
I mean, all that carousel determined who was going to be starting quarterbacks in certain places, including Georgia. And here's a throw for Wilson to the outside and Talon Shumway for the first down for BYU, although very close. They will move the stick.
You have to love the story with Joe Burrow and what he did for LSU and how that community embraced him, how he just embraced that community.
And his native Ohio.
Yeah.
In his acceptance speech in the Heisman, trying to draw
Fantastic.
money there.
Yep, fantastic.
A remarkable young man. And so many of them playing college football, getting a voice and getting an opportunity with open spots and the ability to transfer. Aleva Hifo with a sharp cut. I mean, he turned on a dime right there. That was an IndyCar looking thing.
And BYU can continue to do this. They have an advantage at the edge. They are bigger with their line, and at the tackle and tight end spot, they spread you out, they pull a guard, they get you, and they did that to Hawaii last year over and over for almost 300 yards. And there's no reason for Grimes, the OC, to go away from it. Hawaii hasn't proven they can stop it.
Magnum PI has all the answers here in Hawaii. Wilson on the run. He's got a convoy. Wilson picking his spot, and he gets decked inside the 10. His vision as a quarterback runner is strong.
Well, his vision had 2 300-pounders that were about 6'7" out in front of him for 5-8 yards with nobody. Look at that. There's nothing but linemen in front of him. His own lineman. Wow.
Yeah, that's a good sight to see. You're the starting quarterback. Nearly 50 yards on the ground for Wilson. He's got a couple of touchdowns with his legs. Action for Hifo. It's Katoa on the ground, and second down and goal coming up as Michael Washington, as they get thinner in the defensive backfield, makes a stop.
You get the sense by looking at this Hawaii defense that they're getting a little bit worn out. I mean, everything is to the perimeter. Those big defensive linemen are chasing to the edge and then getting knocked around. Come back to the middle of the field, chase to the edge, get knocked around. A little winded.
And make no mistake, Kalani Sitake was a fullback for BYU. Even though they are full of quarterbacks who went on to great things, they like to grind you. Katoa can't turn it upfield, and he's knocked down by Manly Williams, the well-named senior from here in Honolulu.
Good numbers by Hawaii, bringing pressure and getting into the backfield. You see Katoa limping off.
Katoa limps off. Big play call here for Jeff Grimes. Field goals aren't going to win this game.
Q, do you think this is 2 plays for them?
Not from the 5.
All right.
You could argue, especially with the way Hawaii's played offense. You don't get it, you leave them back there. We'll see. Third down. Wilson. High in the air, he got drilled. The ball comes loose. And it's going to be Hawaii football. He was soaring to the goal line. Everyone reacted. And Eugene Ford absolutely doused him.
Ruling on the field, as if the ball was loose prior to penetrating the goal line, it results in a touchback. First down, Hawaii.
Hawaii football, that reminds you of Ortez Jenkins from Arizona a couple of decades ago.
A helicopter hit. Now watch Ford line this up. He knows he's the guy there. Watch him get in there. There's a low hit and the high hit, and the ball comes out. And Ford was a guy not expected to start, but look at him. He sees that perfectly because he sees the tackle below by his teammate Dalton. He knows he needs to go high, and he gets the ball out.
The BYU team, looking up at the video
Ruling
board,
on the field of touchback on the previous play is under review.
Has been celebrating because they believe that Zach Wilson crossed the plane before the ball was dislodged. So as the official, Mr. O'Day, was making the call, they actually ignored him and started celebrating because they're up looking at the video screen.
The question is, Quint, will there be a definitive look down the goal line, right down the pipe because off this top view, it's very difficult to overturn. I mean, he drops the ball onto the shoulder, and you see where the shoulder is, but you can't call that definitive.
You need indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field. That is a view that is also not down the line.
And we've seen it when you go to replay seminars and you watch the officials. They have plays like this quite often, and you see exactly what the false belief you get from a shot not
After
down the line
reviewing the play,
is.
the ruling on the field of fumble recovered by the defense resulting in touchback stands as called. First down, Hawaii.
Yeah.
Stands as called.
Stands as called. And that's the rationale. There's no definitive view to show you the ball breaking the plane. You can guess, you can imagine, but the rule does not allow you to guess or imagine. You need indisputable video evidence to overturn the call.
Yeah, and we can argue, and BYU fans can argue at home all they want, and rightfully so maybe, but there's not evidence to overturn.
Right.
So it's the right call by a replay booth. And so Cole McDonald's going to come back onto the field for Hawaii after an ineffective Chevin Cordero.
Another red zone failure by BYU.
That has been a struggle at points this season. The Cougars just 51% touchdown rate in the red zone this year. McDonald, after cooling his jets, nearly threw a pick to Fanua again.
Yeah, he hasn't recognized that things have changed inside the hash. Now, BYU is lining up over the slot receivers, and anybody who comes into the hash, they are getting a hand on them and slowing them down. So the middle of the field is not as wide open and clear as it was in the first half.
That was Bird, who's back in the game, 6 in white in the right slot.
You going vertical outside then?
You have to.
McDonald rolling. Eyes upfield, and he slides as he saw Fanua coming for him. That's going to be basically no gain, 3rd and long.
So the routes that are now available on the outside, the go route, the out route, the comeback route by your receiver, because he's getting press coverage with inside technique. So McDonald has to think in terms of getting the ball outside, getting it to his fleet receivers outside, and those receivers have to win that one-on-one battle outside.
Saw Kafusi trying to get the crowd riled up for BYU. McDonald scanning, and he throws. It looked like it came out. It did. It's incomplete. Jared Smart, the intended target. Heron was right on his back, and it's going to be 4th down.
Those are dangerous throws. Those windows are so tight. BYU has packed it in inside the hash. Look at this. Look at all those blue shirts. It's getting tougher and tougher to throw inside.
That's the 4th 3-and-out this half for Hawaii, which has thrown for 6 yards in the 3rd quarter after 3:31 in the first half. Second punter in Ben Scruden. Aleve Hifo back to return. Hifo turns it upfield, finds a seam again, keeps his feet, and finally trucks ahead to the 43-yard line. You want a game changer, it's been Aleve Hifo here in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, he's been the one tossing the intimidation, you know, at Hawaii with his punt returns.
It's such an interesting rivalry. BYU leading 23-8 all time. But Aleve Hifo has been through a couple of them as a senior now.
Yeah, he's a guy that has a great first step, great vision, and he knows when to turn it on. We've seen that in his returns. He's gotten a little bit of help getting to the wall that BYU has set up for him. He's had 3 nice returns, 52, 31, and that last one for 14.
It's turned you into a bingo caller.
It works for me.
Yeah, it's a good look, especially with the Hawaiian shirt. It's nice, the aloha shirt. Zach Wilson, down the middle, got his big man Bushman sliding down to the 41. Now look, we've talked about this rivalry, and Nick Rolovich mentioned how important that game was in 2001. June Jones mentioned it as well, Rolovich's final game, as they're going to go tempo now. Talon Shumway across the 40-yard line. But you sense that there's something a little bit more that tingles the spirit between these two teams.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of it was kind of mixed. There was the love for BYU and all that they've done over the years here. There's Lavelle Edwards and opening up football for the Polynesian community. And then there was Hawaii being left out of the Mountain West Conference when BYU moved there. And we're not as good as you. All of that, all those things are kind of put together in this stew of this rivalry.
They will run it. And Algier inside the 25. It's a first down, BYU. And even if BYU doesn't feel what you were saying, Nick Rolovich mentioned that exact thing to us, that sometimes they felt like they were BYU's stepchild.
Well, yeah.
In the rivalry.
Yeah, well, and you heard June Jones mention it as you see the great blocks there for Algier. June Jones talked about that 2001 game and how they felt that a 12-0 BYU team disrespected them, overlooked them, was more focused on trying to play in the biggest bowl game, and came here to the island, and Hawaii hung 72 on them.
They got rocked. Rolovich threw 8 touchdowns. Algier pinballing through the second level for a first down and goal.
And Bushman, 89, finishing his block 10 yards down the field. Again, BYU, that offensive line, particularly on the edge, 6'6", 300 at the left tackle, 6'6", 310 at the left guard, 6'8" at the right tackle, 6'7" at the right guard.
The length and height stand out from field level, Rod, and they're winning those one-on-one battles. A lot of missed tackles on this drive for the Rainbows.
And the guy they're trying to tackle is a former linebacker, by the way, who has 24 tackles on defense this year, Tyler Algier. Second and goal, BYU.
Yeah, this is a challenge. Now remember the last time BYU was down here, Wilson fumbled going into the end zone. Hawaii was really aggressive, bringing pressure a couple times to force a third down play. Let's see if they bring the pressure again here.
BYU brings in Emmanuel Asupa, who's been dealing with a foot injury the last couple of weeks before the bowl. And they'll run it with him. He gets undercut and chopped down at the 4.
Tremendous effort off the corner for Hawaii.
That's Samuela Akoteu, the senior from California.
That's the end of the third.
31-31. End of the third. We are going to have a marvelous finish in the shadow of the beach. Wilson and BYU, McDonald and Hawaii level after 3. BYU coming back. There's the infinity pool at the Sheraton Waikiki, the offseason home of Steve Turnberger, our on-site producer. We're tied at 31 in Paradise, and BYU rapping on the door not so gently. Alevahifo seeking the end zone. He's turned away, and it's fourth down. Corey Bethley ushered him to the paint. What are you doing here?
Oh, they did a great job stringing that out. Good job by Hawaii. Now they will kick here, but what would your guys say?
You're talking about my analytics people.
Your analytics
coach,
guys would say, "Oh, come on, you got to go for it here."
Not necessarily. I mean, with the way your defense has been playing, you could argue to kick the field goal, take the lead. But you have had kicking problems.
Yeah, I kick because my kicker is getting his confidence back. He just made one. Let him make another one, and you've got some control over Hawaii's offense at the moment right now.
Short angle from 20, and he's got it. Oldroyd sinks it, and BYU retakes the lead early fourth quarter. Let's take a look at our SoFi by the numbers in this game, and the old slot machine was really paying off in the first half, but in the second half, not as much, although we still are over 700 total yards.
Well, give BYU credit defensively for the adjustment they made to be more aggressive and to protect the middle of the field. They started beating up the receivers for Hawaii, not allowing them to run free, and it's paid dividends. They've been able to handle the run and shoot in the second half, and it's allowed their rushing attack to take charge of this game. Their offensive line has asserted their dominance along with their size, and BYU is in control at the moment.
You want in control. Third quarter total yards 128 to -4.
Ouch.
That'll get the job done if you're BYU, which has won 11 of the last 12 meetings in this rivalry, and the first time they've met in a bowl game. This is on Hawaii's home field, even though the Rainbow Warriors are actually the designated road team. They couldn't even dress in their own locker room.
That's got to make you mad.
Crazy.
You can't be happy about that. Yeah.
No, you got all your stuff in there, and then you have to move. But such is life in the bowl season, and we're glad to have you along for what's been an entertaining first 3 quarters. No touchback, instead Panoke, the young wide receiver, ends up getting to about the 20-yard line. Hey, Bowl Mania rolls on Thursday. 2 more entertaining ball games, 4 Eastern. Skip Holtz and Louisiana Tech have their own basic home game in Shreveport against Miami and Manny Diaz. Then Pat Narduzzi and that Pittsburgh defense, which is so talented, will take on Mike Glass and the guys from Ypsilanti, Eastern Michigan, into bowl season of the Quick Lane Bowl at Ford Field in Detroit. 72 and sunny at that game, by the way, at Ford Field.
Not a bad time of the year, huh?
Great. No, tremendous. You can learn so much about college football teams that you may not be well acquainted with. And that's one of the best parts of early bowl season. You get some of these matchups, teams that have not seen each other, they feel each other out. And then you have the other end of the spectrum, these 2 teams that are basically the Hatfields and the McCoys.
Exactly. And they're just fun. A lot of these games are just fun. This is a fairly intense rivalry going back a long way, but it's also a really fun game.
Bowl season brings great history as well. You saw Kafusi make that last tackle. He was here at about age 1 at the Hula Bowl. He traveled to the Hula Bowl to watch the Hula Bowl, and in a cool circle of life moment, his son Foster is now here with him as dad plays in the 2019 SoFi Hawaii Bowl. Deep shot, sideline, on the money once again. McDonald to JoJo Ward.
And that's the answer. That's the answer, Jason, we've been talking about. When that middle of the field gets crowded and then BYU plays you man on the outside.
Offside. Defense number 55. That penalty is declined. The play results in a first down.
You have to beat that man coverage, and that's exactly what Ward did. You get the good pass pro. Ward beats the single coverage from Gawalaku, and there's your big play.
They caught him off guard by going tempo, and then they had the free play. Be interesting now, it's such a light box. Does Hawaii actually show some restraint and run the ball more here?
It is Reed. He was sized up beautifully.
Yeah, Q.
Defenses.
Light box, but what they're doing defensively is they are playing for the pass, and then once they see run, really attack to add to the box in a hurry. You mentioned Kafusi being a new dad with an eight-month-old.
Getting to watch dad play here as this ends up sailing to the end zone incomplete.
Did you see that his wife, he met when they were 12, and they dated for 8 years and recently got married?
It's an awesome story.
That's unbelievable.
The BYU student athletes that we've had the great fortune of meeting in our time over the last couple of years, Rod, I'm blown away by all of them. They are such impressive young men.
They are.
And balancing an awful lot on their plates, whether it be family, academics, football, their missions. They're just intensely interesting young men.
Cute. Best assets of the university that should be put out there more.
Yeah, tremendous to talk to as Reed's turned away. You got a guy in the secondary in Gawalaku who escaped civil unrest in Liberia. So many guys with amazing stories. 4th down here, you can kick for the tie or go for it. What are you doing?
You're kicking for the tie.
Okay.
I mean, considering the way your offense has played and struggled, and now you got a chance to get points, take the points, tie it up, keep the game going.
You always think I'm going to say go for it, but I agree with you in this case. You came out of the chute a little aggressive. You were running the run and shoot here.
I'm used to your telling me to go for it.
Suggesting, hypothetically. Meskel for the tie. Does it have enough? It is no good. BYU is amped on the sideline.
Timeout on the field for media.
Meskel didn't hit it square. BYU keeps the lead. You're watching the SoFi Hawaii Bowl. We encourage you to make it out here at some point for this bowl game. Great hospitality, wonderful people, as many tiki torches as you'd like, clearly from that shot. And wonderful starry nights on the islands. Here at Aloha Stadium, BYU has retaken 34-31 the advantage, and this is incomplete down the sideline for Talon Shumway. Second down for BYU.
It's hard to be in a bad mood when you're sitting on a park bench at the beach looking at the ocean, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't catch you.
Hey, we're the cranky crew now? Is that what you're saying? Find yourself a lanai, go take a nap, and call it a day.
It is an incredible place.
Algier carving the defense, galloping through without a shoe, and a first down.
Who needs a shoe when Matt Bushman can lead you through a hole?
Come on with that.
Just get behind your big tight end, number 89. Get a good block on the left side, nice double team, and look at that. Follow 89 Bushman. Run through two would-be tackles. You don't need your shoe.
I mean, somebody's got to get him a shoe for Christmas now. I mean, we know what the gift's going to be. They're going to work on him quickly as McChesney's come in. Get that man into his shoe.
And this offensive line has taken over. Oh, my goodness.
Wilson to the sideline. If that was McChesney, he was going to go a long way. But watch this. This is a Christmas Eve miracle. The shoe pops off and actually gained just about as much yardage as Algier.
Yeah, you go in to make a tackle and you go, all I got was shoe, and he kept going. Wow, heck of a run.
He actually got kicked by his own shoe, which has got to be the first time in college football history that's happened. A man's own shoe has kicked him. Oh, McChesney moved. That's a false start.
Yep.
Yeah.
False start. Offense number 27. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
And here comes Algier. The footwear people have taken care of him. And by the way, that's the first penalty against BYU tonight. Hey, Jackson, don't do that, is the word. Hey, Tyler, get your shoe on. Paraphrasing. A lot of movement at the line for Hawaii. Algier picked door number 1. That was closed. Door number 2, not so hot either.
A lot of white shirts there. No doors open. This will bring up a third down and Zach Wilson time. The guy who grew up hating BYU because he was a Utah fan. His dad played at Utah.
They had season tickets.
I get it.
At the 50-yard line in the second row.
I get it.
I mean, that's a big Utah fan.
Yeah, and now he is the BYU man. He is, by most BYU folks, considered the next great quarterback. And your next great quarterbacks make plays in situations like this.
John Beck, his mentor, the great BYU quarterback. Wilson sideline, a lot of contact. Here comes the marker. It was incomplete, but Cortez Davis got into Shumway, and the flag is in.
Wilson did his job. That's the play. He gave Shumway a chance. He recognized the single coverage and gave him a chance.
Pass interference. Defense number 18. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
It's a catchable.
Yep.
Nice ball he threw there,
yep.
Rod.
Catchable ball. He recognized single coverage, and he threw it up to the outside to give Shumway a chance. And you see the hand-to-hand battle got out of hand for Davis, and he started grabbing Shumway. No choice but to throw a flag there.
Yeah, there was a little contact from Shumway at the back end, but clearly the initiation was Davis.
Once you extend those arms on a grab, you're going to get flagged.
It's just easier to see for the officials too,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Just 5 penalties. It took till late second quarter to have our first penalty of the game. Free runner, Wilson saw it coming, still chucked for Simon. It's incomplete. Micah Simon down the sideline against Davis again.
Yeah.
With the pressure coming from Muasau.
Well, slightly underthrown. Good play by Davis, but Wilson hangs in there to take a shot. And that ball's a little underthrown. No pass interference, mutual hand-to-hand combat there. You see the toughness of Wilson.
Stood in there pretty good.
See, he's proof that you can be a tough guy and watch rom-coms, chick flicks.
He's so baby-faced, but then you watch him play, he is a rugged individual as he seeks the 30, and he's not going to get much more. Wilson dropped for a loss by Donovan Dalton, and it's third down, under 10 to go.
You know, Wilson is consumed by football. You know, he's been dealing with recovering from injuries, but he says his spare time is spent focusing on football and trying to become the best quarterback that he can, and his relaxation, romance comedies.
And family dinners.
Family dinners. Along came Pollard.
The guy you want to take home to mom.
Yeah.
He's in a big spot here, in a bind on third down and 11. Look at Washington, the freshman, communicating, jumping up and down. They go empty for Wilson, who runs. Wilson zagging outside, and he gets to the 25 to make it a doable field goal.
How about the stiff arm by him at the end of that?
You know, he looks like he's made of porcelain in terms of just his face, but he is absolutely
a little baby-faced assassin here. Watch the end of this. Cue the stiff arm.
His feet are tremendous when he runs and the way he can turn corners, but the stiff arm, there's a little nastiness with that baby face look.
We really enjoyed talking to Zach Wilson. He is a future star here at BYU. From 41 yards for Oldroyd. It is up, and Oldroyd is no good.
Oldroyd thought he hit it. He can't believe it.
He still thinks it was good.
Timeout on the field for media.
They're saying, you hear on the field, it went in. One of the BYU players was saying it went in to Tim O'Day. Let's watch again. That's very close. It looked like it wrapped around. Now, if it's over the goalposts, it's not reviewable.
Correct. And remember, you've got an official standing right underneath that looking up.
If it's within the range of the vertical goalpost, you can review it. If it's not, you can't. So 34-31, Hawaii ball when we come back. Sports Center on Christmas Eve. Bucci and Zubin have it for you. Reports from the college football semifinals in the playoff, and then our sit down with Giannis, plus unique sneakers the NBA players wear on Christmas Day tomorrow. Sports Center is next right here on ESPN and the ESPN app. You can ask Bucci and Zubin for something for Christmas if you care to. Maybe they'll respond. McDonald down the left sideline, incomplete. He had too much on it. That vertical route was the aim for Sharsh, second down.
Yeah, they've made the adjustment. They've missed a little bit on that cue. I don't know if the wind had anything to do with that. We feel it picking up here.
It may have just a tad. It's at his back right now.
Now look, you mentioned it. Our analytics group sent us pretty stark numbers about McDonald inside the hash mark and outside the hash mark on deep balls. His completion percentage dropped about 15% outside the hash mark this year.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why, you know, I was surprised BYU wasn't pushing him to outside throws.
Sharsh really helped him there and got waylaid for it by Bo Tanner. Quinn, you saw that from an interesting angle.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to catch that one under the chin as a pretty violent tackle. Sharsh is a homemade product, though. Detail-oriented. He's maximized his ability. He grew up about 10 miles from here in Honolulu, and he's become kind of a go-to guy in some tough catches over the middle this year.
3 receivers with more than 80 catches this season.
He had 300 yards in a high school game once, as Smart is dropped right at the line to gain at the 34. It's a first down for Jared Smart. Chaz Ayu got him, but a little late.
A rare first down in the second half.
And the rare catch for Smart in this half, too. He was enormous in the first half. This is his first catch in the second half. McDonald's been great on third down so far tonight.
And will they bring back a little bit of the quarterback run game? Empty formation.
This is
here.
the box. Look how light this box is, Rod.
Quarterback run
They're
game.
inviting run.
Bird tangled up at the 40-yard line and yanked down by Warner, the senior.
Quint, that empty formation BYU struggled with last year in this game, and part of what Hawaii did was run the quarterback draw against that light box. We've not seen that yet tonight, but that is something that they should be able to employ when they go empty.
It's there if you want it.
Well,
all you'd have to do is double team Tonga inside and then follow the other guard out.
Here's another empty formation for that possibility.
That's a big dude, 95 in the middle. Quint's talking about the middle guy of 3 on that defensive line. McDonald, quick hitter. Sharsh got off the line well, and he's got a first down across the 45.
So they're rushing 3 and they're dropping 8. And those linebackers that Quint is talking about in the box near the line of scrimmage, they're at about 5 yards depth. And on the snap, they're taking a step back, thinking defend the pass. So you have an opportunity to run. Once they recognize run, they come flying up.
Empty set again, screen off the bubble, and Smart is torpedoed after medium gain. Chaz Ayu got into his body. Look, death by 1,000 paper cuts is fine by Hawaii here, as long as they get in.
Well, if it's helping confidence, if it's helping McDonald's confidence to complete some short passes, great. It's a great thing. It's a good thing. A guy had a torridly hot first half and then cooled off in the third quarter.
Transplant from California to here in Hawaii, just like his coach, Nick Rolovich, who spent a couple years at junior college before making his home as the Hawaii quarterback. McDonald on the run. He was hit from behind by Mahe, and then head on later by Daw, who tried to wrestle the ball from him earlier, and now it's third down.
You know, the one disappointment I would say for Hawaii tonight is because Bird has been banged up, and we've not been able to see his genius this season. Came in with 95 catches, more than 1,000 yards receiving, and he's been hampered by the back spasms and the like. Otherwise, he's a guy that can dominate a game.
One of 3 guys over 1,000 yards this year for Hawaii. McDonald goes through his checks, and Smart has a first down. The ball came loose. And they're going to say first down, haul him down at the 38 as Kafensis got on it. He's saying that should be a fumble and a recovery, and the officials aren't having it.
You see McDonald come all the way back to his left to find Smart.
Smart was on top of a body, and there was a clear recovery, but looks like replay's not going to stop play. Yeah, here it comes. Here's the whistle. That was close enough that they do have to stop it.
The ruling on the field on the previous play of pass complete is under review.
Now there are 2 questions. Is it complete and fumble? Is it incomplete as well? Those are the questions on field, in game. But we have terribly sad news to report from our ESPN family. Our colleague, the tremendous reporter and writer, Ed Ashoff, has passed away today on his 34th birthday. We are thinking of his family, his fiance, and everybody who loved him dearly. A truly wonderful member of our ESPN family, Edward Ashoff, dead today at the age of 34.
Just shocking and awful news. One of our college football colleagues, man, tremendous person, tremendous colleague, tremendous writer, and just so devastating and surprising. So sad.
SoFi Hawaii Bowl. Brought to you by SoFi. Save, spend, earn, borrow, and invest all in one app. Marriott Hawaii. The best locations on all the best beaches and the best deals. Visit MarriottHawaii.com. And Lexus. Experience amazing.
The tour of the USS Missouri, so thoughtfully done. So many important artifacts here in Hawaii, and the players getting the tour of the Missouri, ending World War II on September 2nd, 1945. And big review here. Let's check and see.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field of complete is being changed to incomplete pass. The ball will be returned to the 46-yard line, where it will be 4th and 3. Clock operator, please reset the game clock to 5 minutes, 44 seconds. 5:44, please.
Two issues here. Number one, it's incomplete. Number two, 4th down coming up.
Yeah, now incomplete
please.
because once he left the ground, he has to come back and complete the process. And the determination here was that he didn't have possession and control as he completed the process coming to the ground.
And with capital A aggression and aggressive choices being Nick Rolovich's hallmark and cornerstone for Hawaii in the run and shoot, he's going to go for it.
Well, he said yesterday, it's one of the things that he got from his meetings with Mike Leach. Be aggressive, be who you are.
And be adventurous. 4th down and 3 for Hawaii. McDonald over the middle, got the first down and then some. Cedric Bird healthy enough to hit it to the 25. It's a gain of 20 in a major spot.
He's been a decoy most of the night because of the back spasms, but the quick slant, watch him avoid the pressure and contact, and a perfectly thrown ball by McDonald for a key first down.
Moving down to 5 minutes. Sharsh, and a whistle blows it dead. Flag coming down, and a false start against Hawaii.
False start. Offense. All 11 players were never set for a second prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. First down.
The one thing about Bird, if he's healthy enough, he's the one receiver who has the quickness to avoid the BYU defender who's trying to get his hands on him. And that might open up some short passes inside between the hashes where Hawaii has struggled in the second half. So Bird, if he's healthy enough, he could be a factor down the road here.
And at least free up some real estate for somebody else. Sharsh back in motion. This time he stays out of the backfield. McDonald, deep ball left side, back of the end zone, incomplete. Nick Mardner trying to high point it, and they go crashing into a sign.
And Mardner is one of the few tall receivers that they have on the Hawaii roster, 6'5", and McDonald put it up to give him a chance. And he uses all 6'5" to get up and get this thing, but he can't get 1 foot in bounds at the end here. Good play by Heron, number 11, to really press Mardner to the back of the end zone.
Mardner, a red shirt last year out of Mississauga, Ontario, who went to the elite, the opening. McDonald incomplete. Sharsh defended closely by Kafusi, and it's 3rd down.
I remember Mouse Davis saying that small receivers can really excel in this run and shoot offense, body control, change of direction. But ideally, if you can get a 6'4", 6'3" guy with that kind of body control, they will blow the offense open.
Well, Nick Rolovich described Ashley Lilly, one of his receivers who was great for the Broncos in the NFL, as physically dominant. And that's the type of thing that they don't have as much of without somebody like that.
Yeah, you might be in 2-down territory here for Hawaii.
3rd and 15. Blindside pressure, and down he goes. J.J. Nwigwe, and McDonald never saw him, but he certainly felt him.
How big is that? That is a 3-man rush. with 5 blocking, and you can't protect the quarterback. Manning 75 gets locked up one-on-one with Nwigwe, and he can't hold him off.
Now you went from range of Mescal's long for the year, which is 50, and now out of his range.
Yeah.
And they're going to get a timeout.
Charge timeout, Hawaii.
See,
Go
now.
first to the half.
And you burned a timeout.
Right, exactly, Quint. It's a great point, Quint. You've lost the yardage, you've lost the field goal chance, and now you have a clock stopper gone.
This will also be immediate timeout.
Timeout.
Timeout on the field.
Rough moment for Hawaii. Took a sack, got out of field goal range, burned a timeout, Rod.
You can't do that. I mean, if you're going to blow the timeout, you have to go for it now, don't you? I mean, that's just poor management. I mean, you're better off punting and taking the 5-yard penalty and saving your timeout.
The only problem with that is, yes, there's time that comes off the clock, but the timeout's more valuable than anything else there.
Absolutely.
I'm totally with you. And now you got a kick to Hefo, who has been squirrely to tackle in the second half.
Think about how badly that series was. 3-man pass rush, you get sacked, you lose your field goal possibility, and you lose the timeout. That's compounding things. That's not good.
And now they're going to take the delay.
Delay a game. Kicking team. That penalty has been declined. 4th down.
And that's the point. Don't take the timeout. Take the delay. And you don't have this issue.
Yeah, the only thing Nick Rolovich, I think, will say is, well, we wanted to save the time on the clock, but you had already let some time roll off and make the decision.
Timeout is more valuable than losing those seconds off the clock there.
At this moment, yes. Totally. Hefo waves for the fair catch, and that's a good punt. To the 6-yard line, that's where BYU will embark. With just about 4 minutes to go in the 32nd meeting between these two schools. And for Kalani Sitake, who has a lot of family here from the North Shore, here on Oahu, from Laie, and we asked him about growing up and what this place means to him and how this island shaped him, and what he hearkened back to was Laie Park. And going there and playing all sorts of games outside, being outdoors until the sun went down, and then having to come home, capture the flag, kick the can, pick up football, whatever it is. This place means a great deal to the heart of that guy who wants to win badly. With his team holding the ball, Wilson to the sideline, an incomplete 2nd down.
And how many family members do you have here, Coach? He couldn't even tell us. He says, I ran out of tickets. 20 or 30 family members before the game. I said, Coach, where's your family sitting? He said, I'm too nervous. I don't even want to deal with that right now. I'm locked in.
Yeah, listen, Huey, from day one, he told his team they had to win this game. It was an important game for them, and I think some of that was personal, and some of that was for the long-term development of the program for next season.
Sitake getting a contract extension late this year. He and the offense will run it on 2nd down. So 3rd down coming up, and Hawaii can choose to hang on to the timeouts right now or start to use them, and it looks like they'll hang on.
With just under 4 minutes to go, wise decision since you're down a timeout. You want to get a stop here. You'll still have plenty of time, and if this ball is punted, if they don't make the 4th down, you'll get good field position as well.
You're leaning on your offensive line. They've done the job today. Can they win a victory type drive right here?
Q, they've won on the edge. Jet sweep, toss sweep, gap scheme, pull one of your linemen to get to the edge behind Bushman. That's worked for them.
That was Hefo in the backfield. Wilson meandering across the 15. He's got a 1st down for the 2nd time, head over heels. This time he clings to the football.
The speed and the athleticism. He outran a spy and an additional defender.
For a defensive injury.
Injured player Bethley.
Yeah, they've got eyes on it. They're expecting this. Now watch. Here comes the spy, and he outruns the spy.
He's got that finishing, aggressive instinct. Zach Wilson's only a sophomore. Great feet, turns the corner. That's the 2nd time today he's put his nose in traffic and paid the price.
He's only a sophomore, 6'3", 200 pounds. By the time he's a senior, he'll be a lot closer to 220 pounds.
There's Bethley, who's down. I mean, look, as we said earlier, we enjoyed our time with Zach Wilson. He's got a mean streak. He's got an outgoing personality. He's a family guy. He adores football, and he's willing to go to the school to play college football that is the mortal enemy of the team he grew up loving. Yeah, he's from around Provo, but they were Ute fans growing up. 36 grandchildren, a lot of grandchildren. Very competitive, and you see him in the Utes gear. I mean, and then Boise State. So he rifles through all the rivals of BYU and then becomes a Cougar.
Led him to wins over Tennessee and USC. A lot of hope in Provo with him and this offensive line that comes back next year.
Remember how BYU went through that period where they struggled at the quarterback position?
Yeah, so BYU-like.
Yeah, and everyone is sort of like, this is the guy. We've been waiting for him. He's the guy. And he's showing you all the characteristics of being the next great BYU quarterback.
We told you earlier, he's heard from Steve Young. John Beck is one of his mentors. Jim McMahon has come through here. So many great BYU quarterbacks. Taysom Hill wasn't at that level here, but he's been great in the NFL.
It's a question of his health. Can he stay healthy?
Algier turned away. Derek Thomas snapped him up quickly, and Hawai'i uses one of those 2 remaining timeouts.
We talked about Wilson's shoulder injury, the thumb injury, the pins in the thumb, the calf.
Clock operator, please reset the game clock to 2:26.
That's hurt his development some, but if he stays healthy and has the right kind of off seasons, he's going to be special. And right now his challenge is to manage this game, manage the clock, get first downs, and end the game for BYU.
He's part of our Keys to the Game. We'll update for you, brought to you by Dollar General. You wanted balance from BYU, and you got it.
Yeah, 200-plus yards rushing, 200-plus yards passing. We said Zach Wilson had to have a big game. He gave them that. And how about Hawaii? We said they really needed a big passing game. McDonald had to redeem himself from last season's poor bowl game performance. And coming in as the worst team in the country taking care of the football, they had to do better. And they did. So that's why we had this close game.
And they were motoring in the first half. Hawaii looked unstoppable. It was Colt Brennan, Timmy Chang all over again. BYU made the requisite adjustments. And now trying to put it away, 2nd and 9. They'll go reverse from Algier for Hifo, who has to break it down and slice back upfield. That's a nifty run by Hifo, who saw Matautia coming, and he dodged him.
And now you start thinking about your timeouts, Hawaii.
Charge timeout, Hawaii.
There's number 3.
Their 3rd and final of the half.
So you're talking about this play for the game, basically.
Right.
This will be a full timeout.
That could have easily been a stop, and you saw the change of direction ability from Aleva Hifo.
Not to belabor the point, but if they hadn't wasted that timeout earlier, they'd still be sitting on one.
It's 100% true, and it could be hugely important.
Hifo does everything at full speed. Be interesting now in this 3rd and short call, Rod. Do you run the perimeter? Do you use power? Or do you do some play action? We've seen him score earlier on in the year. And a similar 4th and 1 to Bushman in play action.
Yeah.
Do you roll the dice that way?
I think at this point, Q, the less ball handling, the better if you're BYU. And they've been great at really attacking the edge. And so attack the edge, see if you get the first down, keep the clock moving. If you don't get the first down, you're still going to burn a lot of clock with no timeouts left for Hawaii.
This is why we love bowl season, and we have so much more coming up. 4 more on Friday on ESPN and the ESPN app. Mac Brown's back in a bowl game against Temple. Dave Clawson's done a magnificent job for Wake Forest. Oklahoma State and Texas A&M, some big names down south, and then Cheez-It Bowl Part 2. Will there be more than 17 points? Will a sports information director be called for a penalty? That and much more in the Cheez-It Bowl Part 2 at 10:15 Eastern Time.
And it's Mike Leach.
And it's Mike Leach. If the Cheez-It Bowl wasn't enough, it pairs with Mike Leach. Here, 3rd down and 2 for BYU.
If you're Hawaii, you have to commit, and you have to be aware of the edge. You can't get outflanked.
And we have a whistle before the snap and a timeout. BYU, one of 3 remaining before
Charge timeout BYU,
zeros
they're
in the play
first of the
clock.
half.
All right, so now, and we've seen this in the NFL, you take a timeout, you take a look.
Timeout.
Do you change what you're doing? What did Grimes look at from Hawaii's defense there?
Well, that was interesting because at one point, Micah Simon at the end lined up at the quarterback position under center.
He's a wide receiver.
Yes.
For those not acquainted.
Before they called the timeout. I can't believe that in this situation they would want to go under center for the first time in a game with someone who hasn't taken a snap all game.
That said, the mental dexterity of this offensive staff, the playbook depth, who knows what they drum up?
Yeah, they also have that scrum package where they'll bring in Dion Gonwalaku, Tongo play fullback. We haven't seen that today, but they've shown that in short yardage situations this season.
Yeah,
a lot of options.
My view simply is you've got the advantage. You're sort of in control. You don't need to be too fancy. You know, do your best. You've got a big offensive line that has had a really good game. Go pick up the first down. Put it on them.
Speed option. We've seen him run earlier this year with Jaron Hall.
Go to the edge. You've had a lot of success getting to the edge with your big linemen and with your quarterback. Why not do it again?
Under center. Wilson rolling. Incomplete. They got his feet moving intentionally. And Hawaii's going to get a chance here. Wow.
But you stop the clock.
So many parts of that are but you.
You stop the clock. You run the ball. You run more time off the clock.
Operator, please set the
was
game
open,
clock
Rod.
to 2:13.
Q, but this is the thing. You do these things and you're so dependent on perfect execution and you're getting pressure. It's tough. You're making it tougher on yourself than you have to. Run the clock. Make it tougher on the team that's behind.
You essentially gave them their timeout back.
Yes, you did.
They knocked a couple seconds off the clock. The operator did not start it at the time. Opportunity for Ward, giving a lot of ground. Flag is in, and when you go laterally like that, somebody's going to block somebody in the back, and that's what happened. What a bizarre game this has turned out to be. 55 points in the first half, just 10 in the second half, which still has 121 possibly wacky seconds remaining. Our officials will sort it out.
And Cole McDonald will have one last chance to redeem. We've used that word tonight. Last year's bowl game that they lost, and he didn't play very well in that game. Tonight he has played well, but they are behind. But he'll have a shot to try to pull this out.
And Ryan Meskel, their field goal kicker, season-long 50 yards, kicking into a little bit breeze in this right to left direction. So I'm saying, 45 and in, he's got a shot, Jason.
Yeah, Q, Christmas Eve, it's been a long night. You tracking Santa on NORAD?
Tracking my flight later tonight.
We're close to, we might be able to count you down to Christmas on the East Coast. In the SoFi Hawaii Bowl, as this stadium, well known for tremors, begins to shake.
Always hard to sleep on Christmas Eve as a kid, and now as a parent, assembling all those toys, reading all those directions, Jason.
Oh, one of Santa's helpers out there.
We're here for healing, though. If you're assembling something.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Personal foul, blindside block, number 22 of the receiving team. Personal foul, targeting number 31 of the kicking team. The targeting foul is under further review.
So that's Max Tooley, the redshirt freshman, called for targeting. So we've got dueling personal fouls on that return, and targeting stops it with the replay booth, and we're looking for excessive contact to the head or neck area or crown of the helmet.
Yeah, there are 2 targeting rules. One is toward the defenseless player, and then the other is leading with the crown of the helmet.
Against anybody, crown of the helmet.
And this would be leading with the crown of the helmet, as a tackle is being made by Thule. And the crown of the helmet includes the front part of the helmet. And you need a factor such as a launch or a dive, and that looks like he meets the definition of the rule.
Looked like it to me too.
Yep.
Now, as we look at it one more time, again, the best ejection in this rivalry was Craig Stutzman, who's the quarterback's coach for Hawaii right now, back in 2001 when he punted a ball as high as he possibly could after a score and said that his only regret was that he didn't practice punting enough and he would do it better the next time. He's on the Hawaii staff. This rivalry has had loads of fun, some vitriol, some frustration. Craig on the sideline.
Well, he got a pass from his coach, June Jones, too. I mean, how many times is your coach going to say, hey, we get up by 35, celebrate it any way you want to?
Take a look one more time at Thule.
Yeah, that's
textbook.
Yeah, that's unnecessary. It's the kind of thing that we don't want or need, in the game. A guy is on the ground. No need to lead with your head. It's not good for him. It's not good for the tackler either. It's risky. Never tackle with your head.
Yeah, no matter how much you like tackling, you put yourself in worse position by doing that.
That's right.
Crowd is starting to jeer the review process. 2:01 to go, 34-31 BYU over Hawaii. A 9-win team, the Rainbow Warriors, going to their first ever Mountain West Conference Championship game where they lost to Boise State. Kalani Sitake with some big wins this year, including one over Tennessee.
After reviewing the play, the ruling of targeting on BYU's number 31 is confirmed. Both fouls will be enforced. They net to 0. Cancel. First down, Hawaii.
So Thule's going to leave. He'll get a big hug first. And he sails off with Keenan Peely's embrace.
This is the part of the rule that I think we do need to change, though. There is no reason to force the guy to make a perp walk to the locker room once you kick him out of the game. Take the helmet away, take the pads off. He should be able to stay on the sideline and watch the game with his teammates, but not participate anymore.
Yeah, there's no reason for quarantine.
Right.
Let him learn if we believe in learning the game.
Sure.
I agree with that. So 2:01, and the net is 0. So with the targeting penalty, it's not offsetting penalties as administered by Tim O'Day and his crew.
No timeouts for Hawaii.
Will Cole McDonald etch his name into Aloha Stadium?
Correction. The blindside block will be marked off half the distance to the goal. The dead ball personal foul targeting is 15 yards. First down, Hawaii.
So because of the location of the block, it was inside the range of half the distance. They'll mark that off, then they'll mark the targeting off, and the punt still stands.
Got to work the outside now, Rod, with no timeouts, correct?
Yeah, as we take a look at the blindside block on replay, we're looking at first down and a long way to go for Hawaii. And you're right, Q. Outside is where they're going to have to work. Not much inside unless Bird is able to work some magic.
Long ball down the edge, incomplete. A little too much air under it. He was looking for JoJo Ward against Kowaliku, second down.
Yeah, and that's the thing we were talking about, Q. When they're bunching up things inside, they're giving you press coverage on the outside. Ward is their best deep threat on the outside. And so
Ward created separation, Rod. He was by him there for a moment. That ball seemed to hang.
It did.
JoJo Ward, 1,000-yard receiver, all Mountain West second team. There's some talent on the outsides for Hawaii. McDonald again scanning. Now he runs straight up the gut, and McDonald dives. He's short by a yard, so the clock will move on a 3rd down and 1 coming up.
A little sense of urgency for Hawaii. They've got time. They need to pick up this first down. Empty formation. They can pick this up easily.
Light box again. 3 on the line. McDonald heaves it deep. sideline. He's got the freshman Martner. Nick Martner to the 25-yard line. He was the only one in the zip code. It's a gain of 37.
And BYU simply forgot about it. Little used Martner, 84, 6'5", playing on the left outside, was ignored by BYU. They had number 11, Heron, roll up short. As you see, he's short, and nobody is behind him to protect the deep throw.
Hawaii in striking distance. McDonald, down the middle, touchdown!
Are you kidding me?
Nick Martner Knight at Aloha Stadium. Soak it in, Cole McDonald.
Well, Quint, we talked about the approach for McDonald had to be to the outside because BYU was packing everything into the middle to take away the seam route inside, to take away the post route inside, and the guys on the outside had to win. They just did. They beat the man coverage.
Nick Martner, 3 receptions on the season prior to that drive. The lanky freshman.
It's quite the connecting flight from Honolulu to Mississauga, Ontario.
You see McDonald quickly looking out to his left, recognizing the single coverage and the slant route by Martner. Now, most of the time, BYU had been playing press coverage on the outside receivers. Heron played off that time, which gave Martner an inside route, and he took full advantage of that on the slant.
They scored too fast, Jason?
They might have. By the way, the clock strikes Christmas on the East Coast, and any Hawaii fans near the Atlantic are thrilled right now. Did they score too fast, though?
Did they? How about Cole McDonald redeeming himself from last year's bowl game in which he threw for 85 yards.
In such an uneven season, it's not only that redemption, which certainly exists in his heart, but it's the who knows when the plug's going to get pulled on my ability to start for this team. Drive to drive some days. He's looking over his shoulder.
Well, he plans to be back next year with 1 more year of eligibility, although he is eligible to come out for the draft.
Big hit, ball loose. OKK knocked it free, and they unpile, and BYU will have an opportunity. High bombs all around on the Hawaii sideline. BYU with a $112. This was a rocking hit on Gowaliku.
That ball knocked completely out, but recovered. Wilson have any magic?
Let's see. Zach Wilson with a bullet. Simon the grab just short of the 40-yard line. 2 timeouts for BYU, more than a minute to go.
2 timeouts. It'll take a touchdown. Plenty of time.
There is stirring confidence in the heart of that 20-year-old Zach Wilson. Throw again for Simon, who crumples down at midfield. Still 2 timeouts remaining. 55 seconds to go. BYU against their rival from here in Honolulu.
Wilson looks very confident. He's obviously run the 2-minute drill a lot in practice, but this isn't practice.
Wilson tucks it. Wilson looking for the sideline. He hurdles to the sideline, and he's gotten a lot of errors so far tonight, whether his coaches want it or not. 38 seconds.
3 plays. He's made 3 quick decisions, 2 throws and 1 run. They have a couple timeouts. As long as he's making quick decisions, they should be okay. Now the question becomes, what happens when Hawaii brings a little bit more pressure?
Will they hear? Thunderous roar. Woo! Wilson diverts, and he throws to the sideline. Once again, Micah Simon at the 40. That's a first down, BYU.
Hawaii only bringing 4 and trying to play zone coverage behind it. They haven't felt the need to go to man coverage or bring a 5th rusher yet.
What do you think of that choice?
I think they need a spy who is athletic enough to keep an eye on Wilson.
Bushman working out of the slot, the dangerous tight end. Intercepted! Bushman was the target. Corey Bentley ripped it off, and the Rainbow Warriors are dancing. Island living's real good for Corey Bentley, who's got his 2nd pick of the night.
Watch Wilson's eyes. They never change. They lock completely on to Bushman, and Bentley read them the entire way and jumped in front of Bushman. He's playing zone. He's looking him up. He sees him, and he runs the route for him. That is a tremendous defensive play. In zone coverage, you keep your eyes on the quarterback. He felt for the threat around him, knew it was 89 Bushman. That's a defensive play of the game.
BYU had won 11 of the last 12 against their rival, but Nick Rolovich and this intriguing, burgeoning Hawaii program
That's the end of the football game.
takes care of BYU and wins the SoFi Hawaii Bowl. What a season for this team.
Wow, what a game. What a Christmas Eve game.
Merry Christmas to those celebrating. A wild finish for Quentin Rod and our entire crew. I'm Jason. Stay tuned for the ESPN app and the post-game trophy ceremony. For now, Bucci and Zubin Sports Center. Welcome to the ESPN app and the SoFi Hawaii Bowl trophy presentation. Cole McDonald, the quarterback for Hawaii, showering the crowd with free footballs, and rightfully so. On his home turf, his team gets to win number 10, a career high 493 yards, 4 touchdowns for McDonald, who gets a big hug, and his coach Nick Rolovich with Quint Kesnick.
Coach, congratulations. What just happened?
Pride Rock just said Merry Christmas to the rest of the nation. It's a hell of a football game. Credit BYU. Kalani, they played hard. It's a tough game. It's a great football game. This is what college football is about. Merry Christmas, everybody.
What happened in the second half? You were cruising on 0, and then all of a sudden you weren't.
They came out and played some man and got after us a little bit, got after the quarterback. I thought our defense came out and played a better second half, and that's what football is about. All 3 sides helping each other. What a football game. Unbelievable for our fans and our kids.
Who's Nick Mardner?
Who's that? He's a Canadian. He's a Canadian. He came down here and come out and make that play. I've told him for so long, it's gonna be your time, and he did a great job. He really did. That's big time by that kid.
What stands out about Cole's effort?
I thought he was pretty dialed in on all the throws that he made. I mean, the reads were good. He tried to force a couple. Their under coverage is tough, man. They're long, but gosh, I don't even know what to say. What a great game.
What emotions are you dealing with now in this scene? It seems like your players came after you pretty good with the Gatorade.
Well, I love them. I love them. They love each other. I mean, look at these fans. These fans, I mean, to come out Christmas Eve, it's awesome.
Quite a scene.
For our program, it's awesome for everybody who got a chance to watch that football game.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you
well
very
done.
much. Aloha.
Jason.
Quint, thank you. Nick Rolovich, one of the really curious head coaches, a guy who made friends with a fan at Boise State and went to his house after meeting him on Twitter for hot cocoa after a game. He brings a lot of charisma, a lot of intrigue, a lot of knowledge to this program, not only knowledge of football in the world, but this program which he quarterbacked, and he watches Cole McDonald, a California transplant just like him, pay it off in this bowl game.
Well, and he gives this program an identity, you know, like Dick Tomey did, like June Jones did, this run and shoot offense and aggressiveness. This last drive that they had, gutsy with their quarterback, Cole McDonald, being aggressive, getting the ball down the field. Mardner, a guy being aggressive who hadn't played a lot, confidently running a slant route for the game-winning catch. That identity, that moxie, that toughness, that aggressiveness, you know, starts with the head coach.
As you see, he's with Quint Kesnick. Cole,
congratulations. This is live, yes. The big smile. What's going through your mind in that last drive?
You know, first of all, I want to thank Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. But that last drive, we knew we were getting the ball back, and we knew we were going to do something big, and I just told the D, give me the ball. You know, Coach Stutz, Coach Rello, Coach Schmidt, all great offensive minds. They were scheming up in the booth, and, you know, called the play. Our linemen executed perfectly, and, you know, we came out on top, and, you know, all glory to God. Guys played great up front. Receivers made great catches all night, and, you know, it's history now.
What was it like for you? You had tremendous success early. It got rough. They took you out, and they put you back in. What was that like?
Adversity, you know. Stuff's going to happen whether you like it or not, and, you know, it's how you respond, and it's how you face that adversity. You know, for me, I didn't care who was in. I didn't care who was in, as long as we were going to win. So, I mean, whatever for the team, you know, whatever's best, that's how I was. I mean, I didn't care as long as we got the win.
10 wins and a win over BYU, who's a rival.
I mean, words can't even describe how I'm feeling right now. It's been an emotional season, high highs and low lows, and you know, God stays faithful through it all, and you know, it's just been a blessing to be a part of this team with these seniors, with this coaching staff, with this fan base, you know, with all of Hawaii, you know, supporting us day in and day out, and just coming out here and supporting us and giving us that love. I'm lost for words.
Terrific finish. Congratulations. Jason.
You feel it, Quint. I mean, what a season that he's gone through. His heart had some pain and now has elation. And for the trophy presentation, we check in with our public address announcer, the great Billy V.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to bring your attention to midfield for the MVP and trophy presentations. Joining us here on the stage this evening, Chair of the SoFi Hawaii Bowl Executive Committee, Hugh Yoshida. Hawaii Bowl Foundation President Ernest Nishizaki. SoFi Vice President Margie Brown. Marketing and Media. And SoFi Hawaii Bowl Executive Director Daryl Garvin. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, Mr. Ernest Nishizaki, President of the Hawaii Bowl Foundation, will now present the BYU MVP Award to number 1, Zach Wilson, quarterback, BYU Cougars. Mr. Hugh Yoshida, Chair of the SoFi Hawaii Bowl Executive Committee, will present the Hawaii MVP Award to quarterback from the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors, Cole McDonald. Ladies and gentlemen, the final presentation will be made by SoFi Vice President, Marketing and Media, Miss Margie Brown.
On behalf of SoFi, I want to congratulate both teams. I mean, you guys had such an amazing season, and the game today was unbelievable. So congratulations to both coaches on that. It is now my honor to present the 2019 SoFi Hawai'i Bowl Trophy to Coach Rollo and the University of Hawaii Rainbow Warriors.
Let's go!
Ladies and gentlemen, head coach Nick Rolovich.
Real quickly, I got one thing to say. Merry Christmas, Pride Rock. Thank you guys for coming out.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 2019 SoFi Hawaii Bowl champions, the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors.
Okay.
We earned this. I didn't pick, but that was
From the SoFi.
Let's go!
That shit heavy.
We earned this, boy. Yes, sir. We earned it.